he was just like, the one thing that some people and most people respect is disrespect.
Yeah.
And I was just like, damn, that's deep. Like, I
Say,
never
say,
heard
say, say that one more time for the people, man.
some.
Process that has been around for quite some time. It's called overdubbing. Overdubbing is a recording technique.
All right, y'all, welcome back to the podcast. This is your host, J-Dub, and this is the OVRDUB Podcast, and we're going through the layers with the players. And today, we got a very special player in the house. Go introduce yourself to the people, my man.
What up, y'all? I'm Gerald, the sound of Keys, producer, engineer, mixer, teacher, AI, technology aficionado,
Talk to him.
musical motivator.
Talk to him.
Um, those are all the surface level things. As a job, right now, I'm currently the chief of production for Ludacris.
Yes, sir.
Everything that has to do with his music coming out, features that he's heard on commercials, TV shows, anything that has to do with music and Luda that's non-business and all technical. That's my job. So
My man.
those
Wow.
that's me.
Well, you know what, bro? You are like 50 people in one. Sheesh.
Yeah,
God
Swiss Army
damn.
knife for real. Swiss Army knife for real, for real.
So you know what, bro? Just for everybody to know what we're gonna talk about in this podcast, I want to go broad. I want to go deep. I want to talk about things that people may not be thinking about as far as the job for the audio engineer, the type of things we go through, our struggles, and all of the above. You know what I'm saying? But where I would
Yeah.
like to start with, especially coming off of what you just said, bro. How did you even get into like even audio engineering that would lead into all that good stuff you just said, bro?
Man, it's crazy. Like if we go back to like the story, not to make it long, but to make it
Bro, we got time, man.
impactful. Okay, cool. Yeah, I
We
always
got
want to be
time.
impactful with my story because I've lived a hell of a life so far
Yes,
in the
sir.
sense of a journey. So
Yes, sir.
um, so for me, it started with wanting to be a rapper. Actually, like I'm a hip hop kid, like to the heart. You know what I'm saying? I
Yes,
wanted
sir.
to. In the early, preteen years, the homies is rapping, and it was either basketball or rap. I'm from Sacramento, California. So
Okay.
in the late '90s, early 2000s, it was like and one mixtape, and
Yes,
everything was hip hop
sir.
culture and all the different stuff like that. And so my uncle caught wind of me wanting to, do music and rap and stuff like that. And he was really into, West Coast mob music and, E40, then, Too Short, all the stuff back then. And then, on the Southern California end, he was really into like DJ Quick and a lot of the not so popular artists. And I won't call them underground because they were definitely doing their thing like above level. But yeah, so doing that, my uncle he played Balance and Options by DJ Quick, the whole album. And he was like, yeah, DJ Quick. He was like, yeah, DJ Quick, he raps, he produces his own music, he engineers it. And mind you, I don't know what producing or engineering is. I just know that that's the part of making the music outside of rap. Like that's
Right.
just like my brain putting it together, 1+1
Right.
equal 2 type stuff. And so that kind of like was the first seed of like, there's more that you can do besides just rapping in the music. And I come from a musical family in regards to my dad plays music, and a lot of people on my uh, dad's side of the family does music. I didn't grow up around them. And so you
Okay.
grow up on my mom's side of the family, it was just all like, lifestyle stuff, like neighborhood stuff and, sports and things of that nature. So it wasn't until my parents started like forcing us to go to church at like 14, 15. And because I wanted to do music, my dad was like, okay, everybody has to have a job at church type of thing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like one of the best things he could possibly have done as a father. It's not
Fire.
necessarily saying that he wanted to go to church. It was just more of like, okay, if I got to get your mama making us go to church, everybody going to church
Everybody
and you're
going
going to do something, you ain't just going to be there, find a reason not to be there, right?
fire.
And
Yes.
so he put me in audio visual. So that's the live sound, the video of all that stuff at church.
Yes, sir.
So I'm getting my experience really by learning audio engineering on Sundays, and the all the mics, I hook things up, how the board works, just the connections. And I've always been a technology based kid. Like I was a kid to mess with the VCRs. If something breaks, I'm trying to fix it. I've always been that level of
Me too,
person.
Lou. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I feel like every engineer at the heart of every engineer was a curious kid, right, with electronics
Mm.
and technology. So taking that and yeah, being in church and just kind of like seeing the musicians. Some of my homies were some of the musicians in there,
Okay.
and just seeing that and not having the discipline to play, right? Like I didn't really at like 14, 15, it was like, rapping, street stuff. It was like, I was finding myself, what I'm saying, that kind of space. And the environment kind of led outside of music, right? I didn't have a musical community.
Okay.
So
That makes
within
sense.
trying to find myself within, the trouble, the having fun, the, going to school and Sundays, I'm doing something audio based, right?
Hmm.
And so all through high school, I just kind of committed myself and I was just like, I couldn't find anything that I wanted to do. You know what I'm saying? Like sports, I played sports, but like it wasn't my thing. I wasn't like going to the league or nothing like that. I just did it
Hmm.
to like do something cool and
Yep.
positive. So after sports wasn't a thing for me, it was just like, what do young black kids do? They
Yep.
do mischievous things, right?
Yep.
And so that's what I got into, and because that was kind of like the rap life, right? Like hip hop.
Right.
Hip hop is all about being rebel and all
Yep.
that kind of. So getting into that space, I still had Sundays where I would go work and audio engineer. So by the time I'm in high school, for real, I have a little bit of understanding of how a microphone is supposed to hook up into a mixer,
Hmm.
and how people are able to get sound from a microphone, right?
Hmm.
And so this isn't the time of like Pro Tools and you being easily able to get FL Studio or something like that. I'm talking about 2003,
Hmm.
2004, if that, you know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
And so um my dad one Saturday hanging out with him took me to Guitar Center, like our local Guitar Center.
Hmm.
And I was a big Kanye West fan, and watching, I think it was like a whatever one of those shows was, like one of those behind the scenes shows where they're
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
diary. It was like Kanye West Diary.
Like an MTV show.
Yeah, MTV Kanye West Diary. And like I
Hmm.
was fascinated with like documentaries and
A
behind the
day in the
scenes.
life. That's what it was called. A day
Day
in
in
the
the life.
life.
Yeah, yeah. Anything that could put me closer into that reality, that's what I was like consuming as a kid.
Yes, sir.
And so I seen Kanye working on the MPC because of it. Before then,
Mm.
I had no idea how people were programming and like making this music. To me, all I've
Right.
ever seen is live musicianship. Never seen somebody program on a keyboard. Like I've been to some of the homie studios who dad might have been producers
Hmm.
and stuff like that, but I never seen them actually work on it.
Right.
And so seeing Kanye in the studio working on the MPC, and then I go on Saturday with my dad to Guitar Center,
Hmm.
and they have an MPC 2000, the same one that Kanye is working on, and it was working, like it had sounds on it and stuff like that. So I'm tapping, and it was just like, I guess like that initial spark where it was like, oh, this is dope.
Yeah.
Like I want to learn how to make beats. You
Hmm.
know what I'm saying? Like just on some like, I don't know any producers, I don't know any engineers, I don't know anybody in that speaks this language. Everybody around me is either like in the street stuff
Hmm.
or hooping or something like that.
Hmm.
So I'm like, this is the closest I'm going to get to this.
Hmm.
Let me figure out this. This is my thing I
Right.
want to figure out, right? Like,
Yep.
because I know that this is just what speaks to me.
Hmm.
So through all high school, everything like that, um, I save up some money. I don't go to my junior prom, and like, because I'm saving up for a Triton.
Oh wow.
My partner's brother, they were a little bit more well-off family, and his
Hmm.
older brother was like making music and stuff like that. So he had an MPC 4000, a Triton LE, a couple other things. And one day he was like, yo, me and him were working together at McDonald's, and he was just like, my brother is wanting to sell his Triton. You want to buy it? And it was like $1,000 at the time. He was like, I'll give it to you for 500. So I had the money for prom, but it was just like prom, or at the time I had no girlfriend or anything like that, and like my
Hmm.
plans kind of fell through, and I just was like, I'm gonna take this as a sign.
Yep.
And so like I just kept that little bit of bread, made a little bit of more money so I can buy all the connections and everything like that. Got that Triton, and from there at like 16, I had a Triton, but didn't know how to use it. Mind you, I have no musicality, no nothing. I don't even know what tempo and BPM is. So I'm just playing with it like it's a Casio keyboard, but
It's a Triton though.
it's a Triton. It's a Triton LE. You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
Like it sounds good. It has a sequencer on it. I don't know what the sequencer is. I don't know how to use this thing, and I'm one of those people that's like, at that time, I wasn't gonna sit there and read the whole manual like I know what I'm doing, because it get more overwhelming than it would be
Right.
fun.
Yes,
I
sir.
just wanted to have fun. This was like
Yep.
my thing, right? Like some
Yep.
people carry basketball around everywhere. This was like I get to go home and play with this thing and practice.
Yep.
Um, and so do that. That leads me into my senior year wanting to do audio and video classes, like an elective, you know what I'm saying? Just catching up on credits.
And they had it
And
right in high school?
yeah, we were like one of the first generations to have video production
Oh, that's fire.
and stuff like that, like in our schools. So,
That's fire.
you go out, they give you like a camera, you go and shoot some stuff, they give you assignments and everything. And one of the assignments, I think after like half the semester, half the assignments where you got to add music to it, like original music.
Okay.
So it was GarageBand. So now I stumble upon GarageBand
Yep.
and I'm able to put loops together, Apple loops.
Mm.
So my whole career started off of Apple loops, of me understanding how to be able to quickly put things together to create an idea. Because for me, it was like, this is what I've been trying to figure out. Like, I just
Facts.
put some drums in here. Now there's a melody on top. Now there's piano, and I just loop it all the way through for 3 minutes, and I can export it, and now people can listen to it on a CD. Perfect, because we're still rocking CDs and iPods around that time.
Yes,
like
sir.
early iPods.
Yep.
So, you know, that, and it was right before lunch. I had that class right before lunch. So I spent my senior year pretty much like the first 2 months I was doing like the regular, hanging out, chopping it up at lunchtime type stuff. Then by the time I got that class, man, I never went back to lunch. Like, I go to school to have one of the homies bring stuff, but I just stayed there like putting loops together so that I could have stuff to play. And that just kind of became like my thing. And so because I was rapping, people knew me as like being a music person. Because I would rap, you know what I'm saying? Like there's cypher at school. I'm definitely gonna hop in it. Everybody's looking at me hop in it. I'm gonna do the banging on the tables or banging on the soda machines or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Till we all have to get dispersed or whatever. So once people started seeing me, because I was semi-popular, I wasn't like one of the most popular, but if there was like a top 15 popular people, I'm in that list in
Yeah,
my high
let's
school.
go.
So,
Let's go. Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? So like when people stopped seeing me, they're wondering what I'm doing. And I was also like selling weed at the time, so people were trying to hit me up to do that. And I'm like, I gotta, you know what I'm saying? I might shake 10 minutes early, 10 minutes before we gotta go back to, you know what I'm saying, to go make a play or something.
Yep.
But it was just one of those things where it was like I found my way out of all the stuff I really didn't want to be in, but I was just in out of like social aspects of things.
Yes, sir.
So that just led me to being curious about audio engineering and producing and rapping. So now I'm doing all three, you know what I'm saying? But now I want to learn more. And I didn't plan on going to college or anything like that because I just wasn't a school kid. So one of my teachers, his name is Gerald also. So like he's one of the only black teachers in the school. And so he saw the potential in me as like, you're not a bad kid, you just do bad shit. You know what I'm saying? So like
I relate.
you know what I'm saying? So like he pulled me to the side one day and was just like, what do you plan on doing with your life? And I was just like, bro, I'm trying to do this rap stuff. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm trying to do this music thing. I was trying to, figure all this stuff out. And mind you, this is before YouTube. YouTube was never even a thing to,
Right.
There's no way to get information outside of going to a studio or now the new building of, Full Sail and
Yes, sir.
all these different conversations of schools, right?
Yes, sir.
So he was just like, well, if you want to do music in Sacramento, you don't know anybody that does music unless they're in like, unless your parents grew up in a band or like you're in like the streets and you're doing street music. He was like, yeah, you can go to the community college. They offer music programs. And I was like, nah, bro, I don't want to play piano. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I want to rap. I want to make beats, bro. What you talk about? I don't want to go sit there and do that. Name is hell. And so, just on some like, having to make a decision with my life at like a senior level, it was like, let me at least just go check it out.
Right.
And so being at church, our new music director who I became close with, Reggie Graham, he was a jazz musician and known in the city and stuff like that. And he was also a professor at Sac City Community College.
Oh, that's
and he
fine.
taught the MIDI program. So once I was, told about they have a program by my teacher at school,
Mm-hmm.
I went to Reggie on Sunday and was just like, hey, what's the music program like over there? And he
Right.
was like, yeah, we have a MIDI class. And I was like, MIDI class? What the hell? I was like, I knew what MIDI was because I had been studying, like going to Barnes and Nobles and getting like audio engineering books, audio engineering for dummies, and all these different things. Like that's one thing I always did was like, okay, I wasn't doing my schoolwork, but I had resources of sense of books to try to learn. Knowing none of this stuff, I'm trying to figure this stuff out
Mm-hmm.
through these books. And so he was like, no, but it's more like we use Reason. And at the time, I knew what Reason was. I was
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, you guys use Reason? Like, you guys are making beats? And he was like, yeah, essentially. And I was just like, all right, cool. Sign me up. I was like,
Yeah.
that's my way. I'm going to tell my mom I'm going to school.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, now I'm
Yeah.
not gonna look like a loser. Like, I got somewhere to go because my parents weren't really with the whole, like, rapping thing. Like, they didn't
Yep, I understand.
knock it. They didn't block it, but it wasn't like, it was still the conversation of like, you need to be doing something with your life. You know what I'm saying? Which
Yes, sir.
all parents who care and love about their kids that have never seen any success in that space before,
Yep.
they did what they were supposed to do. You know
That's
what I'm
right.
saying? Out of love. So
That's right.
it was one of those things where it was like, okay, cool. Now I know I want to go to Sac City. Went through the process of applying. I don't have to take no SATs. I didn't take none of the stuff I didn't want to do because I just didn't want to go to college like that. So I just signed up for school. Did all that process. And I got my schedule. I was able to make my schedule and like make music classes, beginning piano, and that was just kind of when I was just starting to take it serious. Where it was like, okay, I don't have nothing else to do besides try to figure out how to do this music thing
That's right.
in every capacity, right? Like
Yes,
not
sir.
being small. I'm doing live sound already. I'm at 16. I'm already rapping, and got a reputation as being decent. Now I've stumbled on how people make beats. I'm not making my beats for real yet, but at least I'm able to understand it and comprehend it. So now after school, when me and the homies are rapping and making beats, by then I kind of had my community of people that I would hang out, smoke weed with, make beats with. They were using FL, like Fruity Loops at the time.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Me not understand how to figure that out, but I would always engineer because I understood signal flow. Without knowing it was signal flow, I understood, okay, when the mic comes in here, you got to hit this thing, to be able to adjust the levels. And this is how you turn on inside the computer the channel to get their vocal. And this is how it comes back through the headphones. And I had an innate understanding of signal flow
Yep.
because of my stuff in church.
Understood. Yep.
So, I just after school, I just became like, the homies engineer. I'm rapping too, I'm making beats too, but for the most part, like I'm the only person that really understands how to engineer. So when it's my turn to engineer, everybody's not as quick as me because they don't know what the hell they're doing unless I set it up for them, and then that kind of stuff. So
Yeah, understood.
get out of high school. Um, Now I'm in college. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm hanging out with the homies. I'm going to my music classes. I'm serious about my music stuff because I have a studio at this time. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Like I've a studio for what it is at that time, right? Like the
Right.
Triton. I got a couple of like little speakers from the computer room. I know how to record myself into the Triton if I want to because not watch the video, but I looked in the manual seeing how to like record myself, but not understand how to play it back.
Okay.
You
Yep.
know, you know what I'm saying? Like just the
Yes, I
trials
do.
and errors of that thing.
I've
And
been through it.
so
Yep.
once I started driving, out of high school, I would go up to the Guitar Center on Saturdays, just so on some dreamer type stuff. You know what I'm saying? It's
Right.
like if I wasn't working, I had a job. I was working at, I think at the time, Red Robin, and like
Okay.
I was saving up all my money to buy more equipment because at that time, making money or making music and putting it out was not as simple as signing up for a distribution service. You had to literally make the music, figure out how to get it onto a CD, get
Right.
those CDs duplicated,
Right.
and then physically go out and either pass them out or sell them or whatever at the malls or
Yep.
events and stuff like that. And so like,
Man, you just
you
brought me
know,
back.
man, you know what I'm saying?
Damn.
It was
Woo,
time,
you just
right?
brought me back, dude.
It was a time. Like you had to, if you wanted to do music, you couldn't just wake up one day and say, I'm going to do music. And then
Facts.
the world can hear your music. It was
Facts.
impossible. You know what I'm saying? So, and this is what 2004, I graduated 2005. So between 2004, 2006, that's that time of like, I'm hustling, I'm selling weed, I'm working jobs, I'm doing everything I can because I got to get real bread, like to be able to buy speakers, to buy a decent recording mic, to be able to buy all the things, the foam, all to put my parents in the room that I have in my parents' crib, what I'm saying, just so I can figure it out. And so I took my bed out, put a futon in there so that I can have space to put a studio desk in there. So
Yep.
as I'm working through 18, working at Red Robin and working at another restaurant as a server, I go up to the spot. No, this is a little bit before like the summer. I wasn't even 18 yet. And the homie at the store, Kyle, rest in peace, he was like the department manager of keyboards. I was like, bro, what I gotta do to get a job here? You know what I'm saying? Like, I was very adamant, like, kind of person when it came down to like what I wanted in regards to like my dreams. So I just told him, I was like, bro, he was black, you know what I'm saying? I was like, bro, I want to rap. I'm trying to figure this stuff out, but I do live sound in church. How do I get a job here? He's like, well, you got to at least be 18. So I was like, okay, cool. I didn't go back until I was 18. When I was 18, he remembered me because I would just pull up. Sometimes I wouldn't even just talk to nobody there. I would just go in, play with the keyboards. At that time, everything was hooked up at the Guitar Center because people would just go in there and make beats. And that was the thing because you didn't have no studio. Right. So, he saw me in there. And then one day I went back to him. I was like, yo, I'm 18 now. You know what I'm saying? I got a car. Was good. Like, he was like, let me talk to the manager or the store manager.
Right.
He literally told me like, stay here though. Like I went and played around, came back, store manager came, met me. And he was just like, come back for an interview like Monday or something like that. And so I was like, cool. So I went and worked my shifts, at my serving job, Texas Roadhouse, matter of fact. I was working at Texas Roadhouse. And then like doing all that, and I hated that. I didn't say I hated that place, but it was just more. It was my vibe as being a black man, making line dance and all that other stuff. So then,
one of my close homies used to, I think he used to work at Texas Roadhouse. Shout out to my boy Mapes, man. He used to work at Texas Roadhouse. Yeah.
No, it's a real thing. Like it's a real experience. Like I was a good server. Like the story is even crazier. So like, I go have the interview on Monday. He hires me on the spot. And I believe it was just because I was so passionate about what I was talking about and how, like, I stumbled on DJ Quick and I know about this production thing and I know about this. And he was asking me just these technical questions. And I'm just like, half of them I'm getting wrong. But I think he saw like, okay, you're willing to learn and you've already done the work yourself. Like I said, this is not around YouTube time where you can just go and Google and look and find out stuff in 15 minutes and like, nail every kind of question. It was like, no, I've been doing this research and learning as much as I can to where it was like I don't know everything, I don't know anything for real, but I'm curious.
Right.
So he hired me on the spot. So I go into Texas Roadhouse. I still have my shift that night. I got hired like around 12. I went to my shift at like 3. They pulled us all in the back. I had a team meeting. I had got employee of the month, like just on some like doing my job, right?
Yep.
I do that. Everybody's showing me love, you know what I'm saying? Through the night. The managers are treating me super cool, everything like that. At the end of the night, you know what I'm saying? When I clock out, I was like, yo, today's my last day. Today is my last day. They're like, what? Everything, because Texas Roadhouse had just been built out there in where I had lived at.
Yeah.
And so like the newspaper had wrote about like my experience, the experience they had with me as their server. That's why I got employee of the month. Because I helped them get a great review in the newspaper, and they had mentioned me being the person that, took care of them and gave them great service and all that kind of stuff. So I've always been, no matter what I've been doing, I've always like mentally have tried to always apply that golden rules, like treat people how you want to be treated. When I come to work, I might break some rules, but we're gonna have a good time type thing. Just because I want the environment to be happy, right? I'm talking to customers, I'm talking to anybody like that. So that service part was always there. So yeah, so I ended up getting that, bro. Quit on them that night, bro. Started Guitar Center the next day, bro.
I'm sorry, bro.
So like to sum up some of that journey of the Guitar Center chapter, and mind you, YouTube and all this stuff is still not a thing. I just keep reiterating this stuff because it's a very important. When you see all this equipment, there's a reason why. I know what everything does. I know how to hook it. I've hooked up everything in this place at least 30 times since I've had it, doing different configurations. There's just a certain level of like love and being a student of this, because when you don't have the resources to figure it out, you got to search for it for real.
Understood.
And that's that's different. So we the the Guitar Center chapter was really the beginning of me learning from other people. That's my mentorship. There was a lot of guys there,
Okay.
having to be in sales as your first job out of high school about equipment. I'm having to learn these things and try these things at a basic level, right? Because there's consumer grade and hobbyist grade equipment, right? And then there's professional, where you get to the $5,000 minimum for one piece, pro equipment, right?
Right.
Nowadays things are kind of mumbled and jumbled, but um at that time there was tiers to this and levels, and I'm starting on the bottom level of like, okay, this is how I help people get their Pro Tools together. This is how I help people get their Reason together. This is how I help people do this, hook up their Phantom and record their Phantom. And mind you, I'm
Right.
learning Pro Tools and all that other stuff. So in that stint
Right.
of me going to school at community college, working at Guitar Center between 18 and 21,
Yeah.
I have the foundation of how to operate in a studio, meaning I can record people. If I need to rap, if I need to make a beat, it's not gonna be the best of any of this stuff, right? But I know kind of what I'm doing. I can,
Right.
if nobody knows what to do, I'm the smartest in the room and I can get it done for us all.
Got
And
it.
so through that journey, led me into leaving to Atlanta. And this is like, so I go through whatever I go through from 2006 to 2009, 2010, when I leave to Atlanta from Sacramento. Um, that story, to make it very quick, was that's where I got my footing, where it was like, yeah, you have this experience of working with local artists and you were able to record yourself and you making beats now, you understand the concept of it. I'm using Logic at the time now, and everything's inside the box. Uh, but I don't know what the pros are doing. So on MySpace, the team I was with, my 25/8 gang, like they were doing a lot of networking, and my girl Amber, who is part of Mars and his whole team and stuff like that now,
Okay.
over about
Shout out to Mars.
1,500 and them, like,
Yep. Shout out to them.
yeah. So she was really like the connector for us, our bridge
Okay.
to the industry, in the sense of establishing the relationships.
Okay.
So she established the relationship of Brian Michael Cox, Troy Taylor, real like legendary stuff, especially at the height of
Playing
what's going on.
crazy.
I'm talking about
Yeah.
like day 26 at the time we're having conversations with B Cox. He's doing Making the Band, and
Yep.
songs is about to release Ready. We're talking to Troy
Yep.
Taylor. And, we're learning with my community. This is the first time I had a community with my 25/8 team. Like, we studied these people, right? We're
Yep.
learning who the producers are. We're learning who the writers are, who all the behind the scenes people. I'm learning who the engineer. I'm learning that Sam is Brian Michael Cox's engineer, and how things are starting to sound, or like that. I'm understanding these concepts and building with my community. And so we take a trip out there. Our music is, if being brutally honest, is like a 4 out of 10. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're trying. It's very clear that we're trying, but we're trying in the wrong way.
I've
We
been through
sit
that.
down. You know what I'm saying? I think
I
everybody
do.
goes through that if you don't come from it, right?
Yes,
Like,
sir.
when you're trying to find it, you have to go through being trash. Like, you have to. I just truly believe in that process, because I'm a product of it. And
Yep.
so the principle of being courageous kind of kicked into place
Okay.
at that time, where it was like, here's like a 6 of us going out to Atlanta to get our music heard, not for really any opportunity, but more so just to connect and see where we stand. At least that's how I saw it, right? And so our first meeting with Troy, we go to his crib. He plays us what soon becomes Trey Songz's Ready album, right? Like all the pre-mixes, all everything before it gets mastered. He's,
Yes, sir.
playing all this shit, right? We're blown away. Like, our shit don't sound nothing like that. Like, don't sound nothing like that. And, to credit everyone on my team out of protection, that, everybody was like, nah, we don't want to play none of our shit now. I'm like, bro, we're all the way out here.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm
Yes,
playing
sir.
something. Like, if don't nobody want to put that thumb drive in there, give it to me and I'll put it in there and take all the heat.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Like, because for me, I had just went through that span that I didn't really like go and elaborate about. I had been through so much
Yep.
that I didn't really have a fear for real. It was more like I have to figure this out. You know what I'm saying? And if
Yes,
I'm
sir.
playing this subconsciously, I knew that if we played it and he's really like a goat, like how we hope, he'll tell us why it's not what it's supposed to be,
There you
right?
go.
That was what was going through my brain. That's why I wasn't as fearful. Now I was nervous, you know what I'm
Yes.
saying? Because I know, like, nigga, this ain't nowhere near what we just heard. You know what I'm saying? Like, no parts of what we've done from the engineering to the production to the song writing, anything is close to
But
what we just heard.
real quick though. But why though? Why did y'all feel like that? What separated it? If you can
It
maybe
was,
remember.
yeah, no. So I mean, in hindsight, I can definitely break this down. Um, we were recording at the homie's crib, you know, in a room, small room. None of us are experienced with the skill set of learning songwriting. We're all just listening as fans and wanting to become professional by mimicking in our own way what we think is right
Okay.
with nobody there to correct us.
Yes.
Where when you get to a Troy Taylor and you're listening to a Trey Songz album, Troy Taylor has worked on Boys and Men, Whitney Houston, Aretha Franklin, you know,
Yep.
Carl Thomas, Jonte Austin, all these different, you know, things that he's done. So his wealth of knowledge is incorporated into these productions. I'm meeting a
Okay.
young SK, the producer at, you know, Soul Keys, and like a couple other major producers at the time and stuff like that. Like they were all starting their journey, you know what I'm saying? But they were,
Right.
you know, over they were further, they were same age, but further than us because they had certain things that we didn't accumulate yet. And
Right.
so for me, it was like, as you know, we played the music. I don't know that I hope that answered your question.
Oh,
That's
absolutely.
why we didn't feel, yeah. That's why we didn't feel like you could hear it, right? Like if you have any kind of taste level, you know, like that ain't it. That's it. You know what I'm saying? Like instantly, it ain't got to be a thought process. So for me, it was more like, let's play this stuff so he can tell us like how he feels. Like, you know what I'm saying? I need to know that. That's why I spent my money for it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like
Yep.
that's why I invest. I got a whole studio at the crib. I got all this stuff that I need. Like I'm trying to make it at my parents' crib. Like, and I didn't go. I'm not in college on some like trying to get a degree. I'm only going to core classes
Yep.
to get my and when I say core, like for my major.
Yes,
So
sir.
I'm not doing the English class. I'm not doing the math class. I'm not doing it. I'm trying to get the information, not the piece of paper.
That's right.
So it became like a thing. So I put the thumb drive in, played the music. By the third song, he was just like, yeah, no, I can't hear no more. And if you've ever seen any Troy Taylor interview or his stuff on Instagram where he's
I
going hard on
have.
people, it was that experience, like the brutal,
Wow.
honest truth. And I
Okay.
think that's what makes him so
Wow.
great because he told us exactly what was wrong. He's like,
Wow.
it sounded like you guys recorded in a booth. Who's mixing this stuff? It's, you know, who's writing this stuff? It's not doing this. You should be doing this. You should do this. This ain't this and this ain't that. Da, da, da. I mean, mind you, he's going off like on some passion, like, you know what I'm saying? And I could see the destruction in everybody's face, right? Like, but for me, I'm charged up. Like I'm like,
Yep.
I'm quiet and still because I'm listening, you know what I'm saying? But
But you're getting
I
your money's
leave
worth.
there. I'm leaving there so like juice because I'm like, I know what needs to be fixed. Because before then, I'm just floating. I'm just trying to dabble here and there and trying to do whatever the room needs me to do on top of whatever I'm trying to accomplish creatively.
Yes, sir.
And so now, you know, I get these words from somebody that we respect, and like he's telling us the same thing. So we end up meeting like more producers and writers when we try to go meet with B Cox. He's not available because he has to fly out to do day 26, but he connects us with his writers and lets us go into his studio that he had at Doppler here in Atlanta. And when he had Black Baby Entertainment. And so all those people in the room, for the most part, ended up becoming my family because I stayed connected with everybody. When we went back, because we did the whole Atlanta run. Like we was trying to sneak into every studio. I tried to sneak into Patchwork. I tried to sneak into the South Side. I wanted to be close to a real SSL. Like
Right. Yes,
I
sir.
have I have my first tattoo was an SSL channel strip. I probably won't be able to see it, but like
Oh,
it was an
that's.
SSL channel strip, and like
I've never seen that. That's fire. I've never seen it. That's
no, I'm
fire.
probably like one of like 10 people in the world that probably have one.
That's
But,
fire.
like my first tattoo ever, because my homeboy owned a tattoo shop, so I was like, you know, shit, I want to get a tattoo of that because I knew what it was. I knew the history of who worked on it, the Dr. Dre's, you know, the DJ Quicks, the Battle Cats, the West Coast people that I was really into, the High Tech, the Dilla, you know, all these different people that worked on SSL. So I wanted to get close to it. I'm in Atlanta where there's real studios. There's no studios in LA that have this stuff, or in Sacramento that have this stuff. We're gonna get in somewhere. And I
That's
would just
right.
tell, I would go up to the, you know, the door buzzer or whatever. Yeah, we're here with Def Jam. Um, we're looking for a new studio to work out of, and they're just, you know, we're just taking tours right now, and that kind of stuff. Mind you, I say Def Jam, and I say this for a reason because it comes back in the circle and later on. But I say
Yes, sir.
Def Jam, and so Patchwork is the only studio that let us in. Cool. So took a bunch of pictures, went to Beacock Studio, met, you know, amazing writers and producers. They were showing so much love. They weren't telling us our music was horrible, but you know, I can read a room. You know what I'm saying? It just wasn't it. But I stayed in contact with two of the like six people that we met that night. And when I went back, they were just on some like, yo, if you ever make it to Atlanta, you can engineer for us. Cause I was just like offering myself at that point to anybody that was better than me.
Yes, sir.
So, you know, no payment, no nothing. I just want to be around and do whatever the hell you guys need me to do so I can learn and, you know, and be around that level of talent. Cause I've always been a big, like, if I want to be something, I need to be around it. So I would go in there and yeah, we would, chop it up through MySpace and whatever, Facebook at the time, and Twitter was starting to become a thing. Then one day, yeah, they were just like, yeah, if you come to Atlanta, you can engineer for us. I said,
Yep.
that's all I need to hear.
Yep.
I had a homie that was going to Art Institute. I just needed a quick way to get to Atlanta on some like put some bread in my pocket. If I got to show up somewhere for a couple hours, cool, whatever the hell.
Yep.
And I just need to get out of Sacramento. And LA was too expensive, and I didn't know anybody that was in LA moving and shaking.
Understood.
Or just in there that I could like migrate and go hang out with type thing. So
sir.
Atlanta was just, I never had thought about Atlanta until that, you know, that experience and then having that conversation. So long story short on that, I convinced my parents to like, you know, sign up for loans and all that kind of shit to go to Art Institute just so I could get out there with like some kind of safety net,
Right.
a place to live, have a reason to get up every day and not just be, because I'm still kind of in the street minded stuff of like the things I used to do to get money. You know what I'm saying? So it was like, okay, in order for me not to feel like I need to do that, let me do a responsible-esque thing. If I
Yes,
leave with a
sir.
degree, cool. If I don't, at least I know that I'm not going there for the degree. I know that I'm going to just get to be in Atlanta, wake up and go to sleep in Atlanta.
Yes, sir.
And knowing that these two guys that are doing major shit, got major placements, are saying I can go and hang out with them and like be of service to them. And when somebody's being of service, you're not gonna kick them out. Now, if I say I'm gonna come and collaborate, do all the other stuff, it's a different conversation. But if I'm saying like I'm willing to be your guys' engineer, and they said yes, if you come out here, you will be our engineer. They could have been lying, but I had the faith to know that hey, if I go out there, something is going to happen.
Wow. Okay.
I don't know
Yes,
what's
sir.
going to happen, but there's nothing happening for me here. I've reached a ceiling. I've worked with everybody that has hit a certain top in my city. You know what I'm saying? So now that I know that they're not where I want to be, I need to go be in those spaces where I want to be because I've seen it. It's real.
Right.
So I go out there. And man, bro, the same day I got my key for like my apartment and, you know, did all this stuff like that, they actually answered the phone. Like,
Bruh.
I hit them up. I was like, yo, I'm in the A. And they were like, "Oh, what? All right, come on. Like, come on. Like, you want to engineer tonight?" I was like, hell yeah, bro. Like, homie's about to drop me off in my apartment. I will get over there, bro. And the part that, you know, was crazy is like, I didn't have a car.
Right.
So there's no Uber, right? There's only a homie or somebody come pick you up, or you catch public transportation, or you walk. It was as simple as those three options, right?
Yes, sir.
And so luckily the homie had dropped me off that night because he'd been, you know, moving me around and helping me get situated with my apartment and, you know, school and stuff like that, and dropped me off at the studio.
Yeah.
And bro, the studio's maybe 4 miles away, 4 or 5 miles away from my crib, from where I'm staying at.
Okay.
And this at this time they're working with Coach at the time at his management company. They were signed to Coach,
Okay.
Coach from QC.
Okay, because
So,
that's what I thought you were talking about too.
yeah, this is like post Jeezy. Like he just got done working with Jeezy. Like he started his career with Gucci and then
Yeah.
got with Jeezy.
Yep.
And then this is him like in that limbo phase, right before P and all that other stuff. So
Okay.
like there was a lot of things going on at that spot. So there was like a lot of brown bag money music going on and
Yep.
all the other stuff. And so like my first day I get there, I do a session. It was like a trap session at the time. Now they're called trap sessions. Before it
Yeah.
wasn't really like a thing like called something. But they're working with some street guys and it's basic rap session. So they had me sit down and start engineering. I'm going way too slow. Like the writers and the producers, they're way faster engineers because they've been around it. You know what I'm saying? Like professionally. So they tell me within like 15, 30 minutes of me being in the chair, get up. Like, get up, bro. Like this ain't working. Like this ain't it. So, here I am. I just moved to Atlanta. And they say, yeah, and I come in, I blow it, bro. Like it just, no matter how much book information I had from going to school in SAC and the little bit of experience I had, I only had enough to actually just like know where things are supposed to be in Pro Tools. I didn't know how to
Right.
operate it at a pace that is professional because nobody ever
Mm.
checked me. Everybody was just happy that somebody knew how to do the shit. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And like I did the Pro Tools certifications and all the stuff like that, and, got certified, all that stuff. But it, the experience I didn't have. I had the information, but not the experience.
Wow.
And so, graciously, they didn't kick me out of the studio. They just finished off the session, and we just had a conversation that night of like, nigga, this is how you need to move. Like, we're gonna show you once how you move these tracks and how you record and do this, and you track us for all of our songs that we're writing and stuff like that. And luckily, they were super talented writers and singers and producers. So all the stuff that was being able to, be cooked up in my presence was high quality. So I'm able to see and then practice when they're done. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
So
sir.
because my place was so far and I didn't have a way to get back home, bro, I just stayed with them. They stayed in the studio. I stayed in the studio.
Right.
And finally, I got some little bit of bread from like the little fast food or whatever. Bought me a little bucket, a little $500 bucket, and I'm the only one with a car. So now, when they need to do sessions, I'm already in the studio with them for engineering every single day. So I'm seeing a young Jacob Lattimore at like 9 or 10 coming in doing his music. I'm seeing K Michelle come in and do her music.
Oh, fire.
These artists, all these different people are coming in. I'm recording and working with all these people very early in their careers, just on songwriting sessions. And so, yeah, man, that just led to me bouncing around with them um, to every session, being their engineer and engineering whatever they need. They need a mix, a quick little mix on a song. Have the most information and the most patience to sit there and mix a song after they have an in-house engineer that they're not paying. And the nigga, and I'm driving them around. And you know what I'm saying? Like, but I'm driving to Polo the Don studio. I'm driving to go work with Drummer Boy. I'm driving
Right.
to B Cox studio. I'm driving to all these different places because they're working with high level people. And so sometimes I'm not even engineering. Sometimes I'm just in the room while the other
Yep.
engineer and I'm studying and watching what the other engineer's doing. So I got a front row seat to see what it is to be professional and then a place to actually go practice it, practice my production, practice my vocal production when I'm working with other, independent artists. So I got my start in Atlanta. That was a whole stint. Moved back home. Things happened out here. Moved back to the crib. Start working with kids, um, in the community on some like I don't know where you're from. Like all the community centers and stuff like that, they have like staff on the back of their shirts. Like if you work with kids in the community
Yeah.
and all that kind of stuff like that. So I did that, and because of my experience, they let me build a program based around music. You know what I'm saying? Like they didn't put me back into the regular, like just do regular camp stuff. It was like do camp stuff, but your enrichment activity can be music as long as you can bring your own equipment. I was like, yeah. So for me, the lesson that I always want to make sure I put out is like I always stay connected to the music no matter where my life took me. I wouldn't put the money or the opportunity of having more money or a basic lifestyle. I chased the dream in any capacity. I always did what I could to keep the dream alive. So when I started working there, it was like I could go work at a call center, work for the state, where I'm just bored in the office all day, or I can go work making, little to nothing as a grown adult, and but I'm able to teach music to kids, and I'm able to, when you teach, you're able to acquire information better. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's true.
So I knew that I was doing that. So I did that for maybe 2 3 years of just being back home, like on my dad's couch, just trying to figure out my next move, man. Like, cause I just, I had seen the high level stuff, and then when I went back home, I was trying to impart it in the city, but people's brains and the resources weren't uh, expanded enough to understand what I had just witnessed. And so as I'm, doing stuff, that's when me and my brother like reconnected, and like we were able to start doing music together, and like my other team, Rhythm Section, and my boys Black Tuxedo, they were doing their things in LA. So it was like, I was mingling, but we all still were kind of like with the most passionate of the bunch of people in the city, right? It was like we're here, but we're not here. We're like leaving to LA, and we're like taking trips every weekend and doing what
Yes,
we
sir.
can, because it's only 6 hours from Sacramento to LA. So
Right.
that's just like a weekend drive. Go up there, try to make some plays, try to mingle, just be in the vibe. So we did that for like a year, 2 years, and you know what I'm saying? Like me and my brother Chase, like, who's also like an artist. He's not my artist, like he's an artist that I work with and we collaborate together. Because he has his own entity, but like, for easy words saying, as a producer, that's my artist. But that's just because we make music so easy together. And so yeah, man, we just did that. And then eventually I ended up getting fired. I had moved up with my program in the city from like city level Parks and Recs to working for the actual school districts and implementing multiple programs all around the city at different high schools over the
Okay.
summers and all the other stuff. So I had a couple years of doing that, and I got fired. And like I had just got a new car, still living with my dad, like sleeping on his couch. And it was just one of those things where it was just like, I could either stay here and try to get another job, or just take this car and just go to LA, bro, and just like figure it out. So that's what I did, bro. I packed up 2 trash bags and like 3 pairs of shoes and my keyboard, my laptop, and I just drove to LA, bro, and never left. Like I just stayed and couch surfed with the homies. Like luckily those same people that I was telling you that I was building with in Atlanta, they had just moved to LA.
Okay.
So they're moving and shaking and doing stuff, working with our little brother Mike J. He he got signed with Capitol, so now they're working on his album. We're going to J.R. Rodham studio. We're going to the Underdog studio. We're going, what I'm saying, we're moving around. I'm with all these like legends, and everybody is showing love to me on the introduction because of the work I did for them
Right.
and helping them, get to where they need to go, and just being a part of their story and
Yep.
their process.
Yep.
They're, introducing me to people I've been studying these people. Like these people are literally mythical characters and figures to me. Now I'm in the room, they're taking pictures of my tattoos, and we're talking about this and we're talking about that. And I'm learning so much by watching the process, right? Because I'm still now, I'm homeless now though. You know what I'm saying? Like in the reality of things, I can drive back to Sacramento and I have a place to be, yes.
Yes.
But being here in LA and making this mental decision that this is where I'm staying, most nights I don't have a place to unlock and go to, or knock on a door and go to. I'm just sleeping in my car in a hotel parking lot, or finding a neighborhood. I had a temp job. That's one thing I did. I set up a temp job situation where I can go out there, work with a temp agency, and they can find me work and stuff like that, just to put some bread in my pocket. And so wherever assignment I was, that's the neighborhood I would spend the night in. And then once my shift is over for the day, then I'm changing in a bathroom at a gas station, then going to the studio out in the valley and spending my nights hustling with the homies until one day the homies was like, bro, where are you staying? I'm just like, nigga, in my car. What do you mean? Like, been getting out here every day, like you've been moving around here every day, just like not sleeping nowhere. I'm like, yeah. So luckily their family, brought me in, because we were all just like chasing the dream together. So it's like 8 of us in a 2-bedroom apartment in North Hollywood, but we're all like hustling and doing what we need to do. And I've been one of those people that's never been afraid to get a job. I've never been too cool to get a job. Like I'm like,
Understood.
anything to keep me from like resorting to street stuff because I did it and it didn't work out for me. And I'm still here by the grace of God because I didn't continue down the path of like doing crazy stuff. So
Yep.
that allowed me to, like I said, be there with them, couch hopping, going to major studio sessions. When the money started getting weird, and I was like, okay, I don't want to just be, leeching off of the homies and all that other stuff. I need to start building my own something, right? So I went and got a job at the Sam Ash. I kind of took the same model of like, where are all the music people? Where do they have to go?
Right.
I don't want to be bouncing around. I'm not the bounce around kind of guy. I just want to stay in a place where I can make some money, have a purpose, and all the music people need to come there. And in
Yes.
Sacramento, that was Guitar Center. You know,
Mm.
so many people. That's how I was able to move around in Sacramento and get my chops up, is because I was the young black guy that was in the recording department and keyboards department at Guitar Center. If anybody in Sacramento needed something, whether it's a big tour coming in, a recording artist is in town, all the engineers got to go through there. I'm meeting everybody.
Mm.
Um, that is from Sacramento that's doing music. So
Right.
that's how I got my reputation from being the black guy at Guitar Center. That knew I was like the black or the black white guy. Like I knew as much as the white dudes, but being the black guy.
Yes, sir. I
And
understand
at
that
that
100.
time, you know what that means, right? Like
Yes, I do.
nowadays, everybody knows a lot, right? But back then it was like if you're in hip hop and R&B or any of that stuff, you're not talking about mic pre's, you're not talking about converters, you're not talking about how this can be hooked up to this and this can be doing that, blah blah blah. So yeah, I was that. So when I got out there, bro, I just went to Sam Ash and just asked for a job type thing. He was like, out here, another black dude, as the head of the department, Pierre, shout out Pierre. He saw my passion and my energy and was just like, you want to do this? Cool. I got an opening in my department. Let me meet the store dude, supervisor. But now I've already worked at Guitar Center, so I know the culture of equipment sales. So I know the lingo. I know how to talk shop with them in a way that shows I'm one of you guys already.
Yes, sir.
So, and I'm also practicing, I'm working in the industry. So
Right.
they hired me on the spot. I ended up working there for a couple years. Mind you, I'm meeting everybody, like, because I'm in the heart of Hollywood, right across from the big Guitar Center. So in Hollywood, if you never, really understood the culture of music stores for, let's just say 10 years ago, it was Guitar Center across the street, which was like the big Guitar Center for LA. And then right across the street on Sunset Boulevard was Sam Ash, which is more of a boutique store. And we had things that Guitar Center didn't have, and that kind of stuff. So like the purest people would come to Sam Ash because we can sit there and talk shop. And then
Yes.
Guitar Center was the corporate, where it was just like you just go and get some cables and get something that you know what you want already. But if you want to figure something out, you come over to Sam Ash because we had the most knowledge. And then Vintage King, all these different companies, stuff like that are out there. And so yeah, I just started getting my ranks up as like, being a guy that people can go to, have a conversation. Because I wasn't salesy. I was just always like passionate about what it is. Like, how can I help you? Okay, you're trying to accomplish this. Let's run through all these different scenarios that can help you accomplish what you're trying to accomplish. And people, respected that. So people would hire me for gigs. And, I would done, bro, I've worked with so many different people because of that job. So that allowed me to, everything from setting up a sound system in a restaurant, like in the walls and understanding how that works, to helping rigs at the road, on the road, people going on the road, or people are in town doing sessions at the other studio and they need to hook this up, and I don't really have access to what they have, but I'm able to do, what I'm saying, like everything across the board. So that was the birth of the Swiss Army knife, for real, where it was like, okay, this is all the same thing. It's just about how I perceive it when I'm posed with a situation, and how I maneuver through it, right? Like I maneuvered successfully through every situation. I'm flawless in my execution with people at that period, because when it came to a circumstance, if I didn't know it, I was honest.
Yes.
But what I did do was I always told them, I know somebody that does know it. Let me get them involved. And that way the job would get done, because I'm the trusted resource. So I understood trusted resource very earlier. And so, I always took all those different things serious. You know what I'm saying? Like anything that was put in front of me, I'm trying to serve the situation, make my little bit of bread, and then go about my way and start the next day. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
But yeah, that's the beginning of the LA working with everybody. So now how we get into the Luda situation um, is as I'm working there, I end up working at a recording school called Recording Connection, moving up in the ranks there all the way to like supervisor, and then I'm working as like a student coordinator.
Okay, that's
Student
fire.
service, student service is what they called it, and that pretty much that job it was just teaching, sitting around and teaching the curriculum to students that were in the program, and then helping them with their sessions and what they're trying to create virtually from my desk. But it was a 9 to 5 office job. You know what I'm saying? Like, paid decent. I was able to, have some stability, get my own apartment, just, kind of get my stuff together. But like I said, I'm still connected to the music because this is what we do all day. First, it was
Right.
sales, did sales for like a year, moved up supervisor. But then they knew like I wanted to be in student services because I love production. They saw me on my lunch break making beats. They saw me mixing songs. Like every break I had, I was still working. And
Understood.
so, get student services, the benefit of student services for that time for me and the leverage that allowed me to take it into my career was I was able to place students inside of studios because it was a mentor based program. So when they signed up, they got a curriculum, but they're also, we're not teaching them. We're not the teachers. They don't go to a campus. They go
Right.
to an actual studio with a mentor. And that's where it was. So Louis' old engineer, Igloo, and my boy, Eric, who used to be Tank's engineer, uh,
Okay.
they they formed, pretty much a partnership and built a Studio 10, and it was like a legendary studio in Hollywood that like a lot of underground artists came through and like just working and doing stuff like that. And so, um, once I got in position to be able to, I was like helping them do stuff. My brother was more involved like on the management side of
Yeah.
that studio, and he was working out there too. And he was always like, "Man, pull up, blah blah blah." But I was like, trying to find my way on some
Right.
stuff. And so it came down to them wanting to build more equipment and all that. So they came to me. I was able to give them a discount. But then when I started working at the school, it was like, "Yo, I can get y'all like 10 bands a month by putting students here." And like I can get everybody paid. I said, the only thing I want is access to the studio. Just be able to have my own room, not on some like make a room exclusively mine. But if
I know.
nobody's using the room, let me get in one of the rooms. You know what I'm saying? Like, let me be a part of that's because I didn't never wanted to just be one of those guys. The reason why I never did an internship at the studio is because I didn't want to be one of them niggas like in the hall, just like sitting around taking out trash and all the other stuff. Like
Right.
nothing wrong with it. I think it's very important because I did have my time. That story I told you about, like being
Yep.
with the home in Atlanta, that was my
Yep.
paying my dues time, right?
Yes, sir.
But I did it already. I'm not
Yes,
doing
sir.
it.
Yes,
So
sir.
that was my point. Was like I'm not doing it again. So I waited till I was in a position of leverage where I can offer some value to somebody, and all I'm asking for is just access to be able to create more value in that environment.
Yes, sir.
So it was a win-win situation for everybody, right?
That's right.
Um, so yeah, that worked out to like that to where it was just like a 2-3 year process of just like being part of the family. Sessions come in, I'm engineering the sessions on behalf of the studio. I'm able to bring my clients in, break the studio off when nobody's using the studio. That's my home base for where I'm cooking up at and like developing my skills as a producer. Because Igloo's an amazing producer, Eric is an amazing producer. There was a
Yep.
lot of amazing stuff going on, at that studio. A lot of energy that was being created. And so Luda would come by every once in a while when he was in town. But like Igloo was very like hands off Luda. Nobody talked to Luda. He don't want to deal with y'all niggas. And like he comes in here, he comes straight to my room. And if you see him in the hallways, say what's up and keep it moving type shit. So it was like, respectfully, that's how I moved. It was like, see him around, say what's up. Oh shit, that's Luda. Like, was good. But by then I've worked with so many major artists at this time. I'm not starstruck or, I have good studio etiquette. I have very great etiquette at this point.
Yes, sir.
Because I'm not phased by it. If anything, I'm gonna show appreciation to the person in their face and then keep it moving.
Right.
Um, but long story short on that, Luda was trying to learn Ableton. and I was the only person at that studio who used Ableton. I know
Mm.
every single DAW because every like year and a half I switch DAWs just to like stay creative and stay up on shit.
Yes, sir.
And yeah, we ended up Igloo ended up brokering a situation where I was able to teach Luda Ableton like once a month or something like that. He would come into town for whatever he was in town for, and he he'd shoot TV commercials, whatever, and then spend a day where like an hour, like we would just link up at a specific location for an hour, and yeah, I would just like give him like starting to whatever he wanted to know. I would teach him that, but then I would also be like, here's this. And I think what the connection between me and him was that I was able to take something that seemed complicated and explain it in a very simplistic way. Like,
Mm.
and that comes from teaching kids, right? Like, how do you
Ah.
teach a sophisticated concept like EQ or compression to a child, right?
Mm.
And
Fire.
so I had mastered that by this time.
Okay.
So now when I'm talking to Luda, he's a busy man, right? Like he's
Yes,
a
sir.
superstar, he's an icon. Like he's clearly not trying to learn the deep science, but he wants an understanding because he's trying to accomplish something. I can see that he's trying to learn this. I'm not necessarily understanding why, because I'm like, nigga, you're Luda. You don't need to make beats. You know what I'm saying? Like, but I'm teaching. So my job is to make sure you leave here fulfilled with information. And that's what I did every single time. So maybe say about 6 months of doing that, um, and working with him. I'm in like this very ill place, bro. Like God's timing is like, amazing. So like I thought I got a placement with Zendaya and Travis Scott. Actually, it did happen, but the business situation got all messed up,
Oh,
and
wow.
then she ended up getting like Spider-Man role. So the whole
Oh, okay.
and all the stuff like that. But mind you, when this is happening, this process is happening, I'm taking a leap of faith because I hate my job at this time. So I get myself fired on purpose, and you know, so I can collect unemployment.
Okay,
And at
got it,
the
got it, got it. You
time I
smart.
had a girl, yeah, bro, everything's calculated. As crazy as shit I do, I try to do as much preserving of self because I don't want to go back to what I used to do to survive. Everything's like that. Like, okay, if I bare minimum can eat and pay my half of the rent, because I had a girlfriend at the time I was living with. So if I can pay my half of the rent, I don't even need to tell her that I lost my job. I just need to be, because I'm making enough money between going to work and doing sessions to where I have a overflow. Not like I'm balling, but meaning like I have enough where I was just barely making rent. I now have enough to make a rent, put groceries, you know, buy whatever I need to move around. You know what I'm saying? Like live. And so, yeah, I didn't tell her. Got fired. Money still coming in. I'm now just waking up and doing sessions and you know what I'm saying, doing all the other stuff. And I'm going to school. I went back to school at like community college to learn business because that's the one thing I knew I was getting deeper into the industry, but I didn't have the business acumen. And I knew just from being a hustler, like you need to know how the money is handled. You need to know the basic concepts of that, like not for the music industry, but just the concepts of business. Because a lot of times as creatives and even just regular people that don't understand business, we'll look at something and we look at it through the wrong lens. But then when you have the information and you're able to look at it through the right lens, you completely understand why something happened the way it was, right? And
Yes,
it
sir.
reduces anger, stress, anxiety, blah, blah, blah. I just needed something to do to stay positive for real, while I was doing sessions and, you know, trying to figure that out. So go through that. Luda sees all this stuff that I'm doing because I'm posting it on social media and we're following each other now. So he sees when I'm moving, blah, blah, blah. One day he hit me with a test. He's like, I just recorded this song, this remix, and I recorded them, and we did it in like 5 minutes. And he was like, "Wait, wait, nigga," because he's a one take type thing. He's professional, right? So he
Fire.
comes in, knocks out his verse in like a minute, 2 minutes. It's like 2 takes the most, but by the time he hits playback, I've chopped his vocal and placed it on my tracks that have the effects and stuff like that.
Yes,
So
sir.
in 5 minutes of him doing his take, doing his, you know, ad libs, as soon as he hears it back, it's mixed You know what I'm saying? He's like, bro, you did that? You just did all that? And he's like, yeah. He's like, bro, that was only like 5 minutes. So he was like, damn, you fast as hell when it comes to tracking. And I was like, yeah. By then I'm tracking in my sleep. Like I'm
Right.
working 7 days a week, 12-hour sessions, 20, you know what I'm saying? I'm clocking all day. And I'm doing it high, I'm doing it sober, I'm doing it every kind of way. I'm sleep tracking because it's just a bunch of trap stuff. And I know how to, I'm maneuvering like speed like a mug.
Mm-hmm.
So then he hits me and was like the next month he hits me and was just like, you got you mix? And I was like, yeah, oh yeah, I mix. So I sent him 5 different songs in 5 different genres.
Yeah.
So that you can understand, like, I do this. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I
Like
fucking do this,
every
man.
genre.
Right.
And so, because he didn't tell me what genre, he just said send me something.
Mm-hmm.
So I sent him 5 songs, all different genres, and he's like, bro, these are all fire. Like, hell yeah. Like, damn. So he was like, I'll talk to you next month. That's all it is. So we don't chop it up, and then our next session, he was like, man, I'm working on something. I might want you to come to Atlanta and be a part of it. He's like, 'cause you're like a Swiss Army knife. He was like, your mixes are fire, your quick at recording, and your beats are dope too. And so I don't know what the hell he's talking about. And the only on the surface, like the only thing in my mind is like, yes, nigga, just think about the rap. He want to make my beats. I'm about to be I'm about to mix all the records. Like, let's go.
Let's go. Yeah, yup.
I'm about to be guru to Jay-Z. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And so,
this is a
long
good story.
Short on that, he tells me, I got this going. I want to bring you involved. I just need to get the money right and get your living situation right. I'm like, nigga, no, I will come right now. Don't worry about none of that. I will figure out how to make money. I'll do all this. I just need the opportunity. I've always been one of those people that's like, I don't even need the money, bro. I need the opportunity.
Yes.
Because
yes.
I know how to leverage that, right? Like, in that phase of my career, it's very important for me to be that way, right? Like, things are different now, but in that time, I needed to be that way because I didn't have a name. I didn't have any substantial credits that allowed me to walk in a building and go crazy.
Okay.
It was all about, like, I worked with all these people, but a lot of the songs that I worked on, you know how it is like,
yep.
People record 100 songs, 20 of them come out. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm part of that 80, with a lot of artists where I worked with so many. My list of credits is crazy, but songs being able to attach to those artists is not really there. It's like a 3% kind of situation. But yeah, so he says all that, and I'm like, blah blah blah. And what I appreciate about him, and what just led me closer to him, was he was like, nah, bro, like, chill. I'm gonna get everything squared away for you before I like tell you what it is and all that kind of stuff like that. That has never happened to me before in the industry. Mind you, I've worked with so many people, so many different labels, everything like that. I've never been in a situation where somebody was like, no, let me make sure you're taken care of. You know what I'm saying? I've been in the studio with artists working for 12 hours, sitting there engineering, and they'll pull out $50,000, phones, money phone and everything like that on the camera and everything like that, get the whole team food, and don't nobody offer me nothing. You know what I'm saying? I've been in those environments, in those trenches, you know what I'm saying? So for me to offer myself and for somebody to say, no, I want to make sure you're right, that let me know he saw value in me. So that that kind of gave me like a certain kind of confidence to where I was moving around a little bit different. And so just on some like, I'm that guy type thing. You know what I'm saying? Like,
a real quick, right?
Yeah.
One thing I want people to understand about something you just touched on, which is real. In your opinion, would you agree that a lot of engineers probably feel the same way? We could get left out, and we're actually one of the most important people of the damn program of what's going on. You know what I'm saying? You ever, as a person, like, how did you feel, or have you ever felt, like left out of something? Like,
that's a great question, bro.
You know what I mean?
I think you become numb to it, which is not necessarily a good thing. You know what I'm saying? But
of course.
I was told very early by the head of our audio department at church. He was like, being an engineer is the most thankless job. So I was told very early that this is not the job that you take if you want praise for anything, regardless of what. I've saved the day numerous times from the age of 16 to 30, right?
Me too, man. Wow,
You know what I'm saying?
yo, you talking some shit? 'Cause, man, listen, they
And
don't know. They don't know. They
right.
don't
And
know.
so there's never, I won't say there's never, it's rare that I would have any sort of feeling if I'm not a part of the next step, or I'm not included in any of the cool stuff that happens after all of my hard work. Because there's been plenty of sessions, if not most of my sessions, where okay, we'll do the session, you know, everybody's good, and I did my job so amazing, and I was a part of the process more than some other people that were there. And then, you know, everybody's going out to dinner, and ain't nobody inviting me, or and, you know, it's supposed to be a group family thing, and then, you know, it's like, damn, well, I'm important too, but you know, like, I just kind of was like, all right, on to the next thing. Like, all right, y'all out, cool, peace. I'm about to pull up my laptop and start cooking up. You know what I'm saying? Because after I'm done engineering, I'm producing. So I've always had something to keep me, if anything, to answer your question strongly, like, I allowed it to fuel me to want to become a producer better. Because at some point it was like, man, fuck this, man. I'm tired of not getting my, you know what I'm saying? Like, I
Yep.
know I'm important, you know what I'm saying? Not even just technical or skillful, whatever. I know I'm important as a person,
Person,
right?
yes.
As a person, I know I'm important, but people have to see me through a certain lens in order
Mm.
to look at me like that. So I need to push myself to be that title of producer, not
Wow.
beat maker, but producer, a
Wow.
person that is in charge of the end result, the trusted
Mm.
resource to get things going. Whether I have to engineer, whether I have to vocal produce, whether I have to make the beat, whether I have to add keyboard parts and figure it out, whatever it is to help get it to the finish line, I need to be encompass producer. So when I walk into a room, this is Keys, the producer, right?
Mm.
But when you're good at things, people will put you in the box that they need you for.
Wow.
So no matter what I did in sessions where it's just me and the artist doesn't know how to do their harmonies, or they're not doing their, you know, they're not doing certain things, or the producer is not knowing how to arrange the beat a certain way to have a certain feeling or whatever like that. And they're taking my advice and my information on how to do this. But in the back of my mind, I know that because I don't have that producer on my name, and I don't have
Right.
a relationship with them like that,
Right.
I'm only going to be credited as engineer. My money stops when they hand me the money or whatever I put on that invoice. That's the extent of what I get out of the situation. So doing that over and over and over, you get used to it, but it still put me in a space where I wanted to earn um, the confidence to say that I'm the producer,
Yep.
and yes, I also engineer,
Yes. Yes. Wow,
which is
man.
still, it's still something that I go through today. I mean, it's even with Luda, like, because we haven't put out anything under the Ludacris name, and the only thing that I have attached to Ludacris in the sense of like the adult world in music is just, well, I do now. Let me take that back. I do now have placements with Luda, but everything that we've done that he's put out, I've engineered it.
Right.
When people meet me, you know, this is Luda's engineer.
So
But
like my chick bad, you engineered that?
no, that's before me. That's
Okay, okay,
before
okay,
my,
okay.
I think I was still going through my hustle. I've only been with Luda since 2018.
2018.
So
So what just real quick,
2018.
what's one song that you engineered that's like kind of out that maybe a lot of
So
people might know or maybe
so
not know?
There's Peaches by Justin Bieber.
Oh, you wait, you mix that?
So I engineered and mixed Luda's vocals, which is it's the version. So there's two versions.
Yep.
There's the version with Daniel Caesar and the dude with the deep voice. I forgot his name.
Give you on. Right?
Giveon.
Yep.
And then there's a version with Usher, Snoop, and Luda. So I did his stuff on that. The Usher stuff, him and Usher and Lil Jon had a song called Sex Beat that
Oh,
came
okay.
out. I engineered and mixed his vocals. Anything that he comes out, I mix his vocals.
So anything past 2018 and on, you
Yeah,
pretty much
anything past 2018 is all me. Like the commercial that he did for thank you, bro. He did we did a campaign for Google for Black Friday, Buy Black. So I produced, that was my first official Ludacris placement as a producer, where I made the beat. You know what I'm saying? He came in with the 808 and what he wanted to rap over the 808, and I made the beat around it and
Mm.
produced that whole thing all the way out. I mixed it with the
Fire.
help of Leslie Brathwaite,
Woo, yo,
and
shout out Leslie, yo,
yeah,
shout out Leslie, man.
real goat status, man, real cool dude too.
Yeah, yeah.
And so like that, but the most statement piece that we did and why he brought me upon the crew, we did a show called Karma's World. And Karma's World is a TV show on Netflix, kids TV show. Um, and we're at 4 seasons in and 2 soundtracks on Def Jam. And I did all the music for the show. So 4 seasons,
Wow.
189 pieces of music in the show.
Wow.
And then the soundtrack, which is 10 songs a piece. And then it was I had to do the soundtrack in 12 different languages.
Wait
So
a
each
minute.
song
So,
in 12 different languages. Yeah, man.
wow.
So that's what I've been doing since 2018 with Luda. Like first we built Kid Nation, or he built Kid Nation. I did 90% of the music for that production wise, but I mixed 100% of it along with my boy Andre Bridges.
Shout out to your boy, man.
Yeah, my dog. And then that led into Karma's World, which was the original concept of what he was trying to do. And
Okay.
he's been working on Karma's World for, at this point, 20 years now. It's been a thing. But I guess once he met me from, the conversation that we've had,
Yep.
it was kind of like he knew it can get across the finish line because I just had all the pieces, like, the professionalism, the ability to do 5 jobs at once, you know what I'm saying? And not complain ever. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't know anything about, I'm not saying I didn't know anything about composing because I took like a music theory composing class, but I knew in that process what I didn't want to do and what my strengths were. And like, because I'm working with major corporations, it was like, just be honest about what it is you can and can't do. And that way they can hire the right people to do it. And then because Ludacris is the boss of the whole situation, I'm his right hand in that. So he handles the business, I handle production and all the assets of production and creating the music and the representing the brand. So I'm speaking on that end of, if there was an executive level on that, that's where I became the, let's just say the chief executive or the chief production officer
Yeah.
in that journey of working on Karma's World. That's where
Yeah.
that title developed because he didn't know what to call me to people. Like he didn't know how to introduce me because he was like, bro, you do so much shit. Like I don't want to diminish you by calling you, just an engineer
Or
because
just
you
a
do so
producer.
much, or just a producer. So that's when I came up with the chief of production because I was just going through C level titles. And I was just
Yes.
like, bro, all this shit I've been doing, like, all because I'm the one that's on the phone day to day. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like on the production end. He's on the phone day to day on the business. I'm the day to day on the production end.
Right.
This is a 2-3 year process of making this TV show. And so from concept to reality and being on broadcast. And so that's I'm handling it every single day. Like I'm on the brief calls. I'm the one creating the music after the calls. I'm the one hopping on the phone with Netflix explaining to them like the craziest thing ever in my life, most scariest moment of my career so far.
Oh yeah, let's talk about it.
No, bro. And this is a vow to confidence, right? And knowing
Yes.
your abilities, right? And
Yes.
being fully transparent, but also knowing that you can deliver on what you say you can deliver on.
Yes.
The way that we did the show was very innovative because I'm very unconventional, meaning that I don't have any traditional ways of how I learn my information.
Yes.
And so I'm just passionate and willing to learn.
Same here.
And so once I learned what production really was, right? Like the pre-production, production, post-production, and how important context is in every single part of that, meaning that having this piece allows you to do this. Having these pieces allow you to do this, right? In music. And so me not being a super musical person, when we first started this process of them hearing the demos of what I was doing to their briefs and all the stuff like that, they're like, yo, these aren't like shells. These are like demo beats. And I'm like, yeah, I know. I did that. I was very intentional with doing that. And they're used to, mind you, this is 9 Story, who's They did Blues Clues. They created Blues Clues. Doc McStuffins. You know, your father. You understand these shows. Dora the
Yo.
Explorer, like all these made Daniel Tiger. You know what I'm saying? Like so many major, huge brands, and properties. And so here I am being like, you know, a hip hop producer at
Right.
heart, right? I can produce anything, but at heart, I'm a
Right.
hip hop producer.
Right.
And so, which is the foundation of why Luda put me in charge, because it's a hip hop musical show. But we
Yep.
have to touch the world, but in a hip hop way. And
Right.
me and Luda's brain is the same in how we view a lot of things. You know what I'm saying? He's a lot more elevated in certain aspects because of who he is and his experiences. But on the foundational level, we kind of share one brain when it comes to creativity. And so they're hearing this stuff and they're just like, yeah, so we don't hear like anything that's making us excited. And I was like, because you guys are listening wrong.
Ooh,
And
wait, you told him that?
yeah, but
Oh
you know,
yeah,
in the most
talk that
professional
shit,
way.
man.
But in the most professional way. Like I'm not like, oh, y'all know the fuck y'all talking about. It was
Fuck
just more
nigga.
like I just don't understand like how the basis of hip hop and how we produce records. Because
Right.
these songs in the show need to feel like records. They don't need to feel like some magical Disney moment. If we're trying to break the rules and trying to set a new standard for what, you know, it's because this is a black show. Let's not get it twisted. There's multiculturals being represented, but this is a black show. Like everything about the concepts is black. Everything about that is it's a hip hop based show. So I'm going to start it off with the foundation of hip hop.
Right.
So instead of sending in, because they didn't give me no visuals, first and foremost, these are all just briefs. I'm just having to go off of, which is not what they do in that world. It's like usually the composer has a visual to construct around, right? I didn't have that. I had a phone call and then a paper that said all the main points they wanted to hit and some of the references of what, you know, they wanted to sound like. So I'm giving them demos because I'm like, you know, I got to turn in 3 demos per episode.
Right.
Each part needs its own part. So technically I'm turning in 6 to 9 pieces per episode. And so I'm just sketching out these ideas. I'm not about to flesh it all out and box us in, right? Because, you know, as a producer, once there's too much music going on, the limitation happens of what can actually be done with all the other people involved. So I'm going to send you some dope drums over with a dope melody, dope bass line. I'm going to give you all the essential parts of music because I don't have vocals yet. I just got beats and words on paper describing what this episode is. So I'm not going to stretch and stress myself to
Right.
give you guys a half-ass thing that I don't do. I'm going to give you what I do. So that's some hard-ass beats with some dope melodies that explain, that hit the points and the feelings of what you guys want. But the energy is there.
Yes.
At least for whoever is going to write the lyrics, which is Luda and one of our partners, James Bennett. James and Luda wrote the lyrics once everything was approved. So they were getting this back, and they're like, "Yeah, Netflix is just not like, you know, they're kind of nervous right now." So get them on the phone, put everybody on the phone.
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah.
At this point, I'm either going to succeed or I'm going to fail. I've hit a point in the road where I'm going to let them know that I'm the best for what I'm the best. And this man is entrusting me and he's standing behind everything I'm saying. And mind you, I'm running this conversation into him before I'm having it with them because I need that confidence to boost to know that if I say these things,
It's okay.
you're going to stand by me and vouch for me that I am the guy for the job.
So you basically told Luda like, yo, look, dog. This is not obviously like, yo, look, nigga, this is what you need to do. But now you pretty much went to him like, yo, look, bro, this is what I'm trying to do. This is why I feel like, you know, the direction needs to go. Just support me, bro. Just, you know, is this okay if I say this, that, and the third? Got you.
Because he's by this point we've done Kid Nation. By then we've done, you know, the features that we've done. We've had the rapport of working. He knows how I work. He knows how I get down, and so he knows I'm not bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Like I've
Right.
never not delivered at the level. You know what I'm saying? When he gave me my space to do what I need to do, I've delivered above his expectations.
Yes.
So on every level, from production to mixing to engineering to you know, dealing with other artists involved in the Kid Nation aspect of it, because I was chief of production on that. So get on the phone with Netflix and I'm like, you know, they're like, yeah, you know, we were looking for ear candy and most of our shows have this and that and pre-production and have that. I said, I understand that, but I'm a groundbreaker. You know what I mean? I was like, this show is not going to be corny. It's not going to be something that you can compare to Disney. It's not something that you can compare to Nickelodeon. This is going to be something on its own that's going to set a standard. And if that's the goal, that we're gonna go for, I need to produce like Quincy Jones produces,
Right.
where and I start breaking it down to them. Now is my education in this being explained to people that have no idea. I say when Quincy Jones, and you guys can do your own research on this, it's on YouTube. When Quincy Jones is putting together Thriller, because everybody knows Thriller, black, white people, everybody knows Thriller, right? Because there's a lot of white executives on here, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, gotta make it make sense, right? And so I break it down. It's like all these demos only had a kick drum, the major drums, the bass line. Michael Jackson is singing the melodies, and then all the music can be contextualized perfectly. I don't have any of those elements. All I have is pieces of paper and phone conversations. So what I don't want to do is give you guys this elaborate version of what I think it should be, and then now we're having a conflict of what you guys want versus what I want. I'd rather us not have to go backwards. I'd rather us be forward. Even if we're taking little steps forward, at least we're always moving forward. So no, I'm not going to flesh out full production for you guys. I'm going to give you guys enough of hitting the targets. And then once we record vocals and I have the vocal back from whoever's voice is going to be on there, because that matters. As a producer, you understand that. The timbre of somebody's voice it determines the sound choice that you use, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so knowing that, I'm explaining all this technical stuff in a very easy, layman way, but I'm trying to get them to understand, like, if we want this to be great and not just cookie cutter, we're going to have to do it the way that the greats do it.
Yes.
From making a music, from making
Let's go.
record standpoint.
Talk that shit, man.
Luckily, our show producer, who's one of the directors of the company now, she had my back 100%. And she was like, no, Keys has been nothing but amazing. He's delivered on everything that we've thrown at him. And, we're happy over here and blah, blah, blah. And so, mind you, I'm sweating because this is one of those, either they're going to shut it down, they're going to tell Lou, like, get the guy off the show, or they're going to have the trust in me. And, the right people vouch for me between Luda and our show producer. They were like, and then, they could see my passion. You know what I'm saying? There's like 8, 9, 10 people on the call.
Yeah.
And I'm very passionate about what I'm saying because I'm speaking the whole time, not letting nobody talk.
Quick question: was it video or audio? It doesn't really matter. I'm just curious.
No, it's video.
Okay, great. Now it's even better because I would want them to, with that type of comment. I would want them to see everything. The vision. I mean, your face, your body language, everything.
And bro, mind you, I'm on there with a wife beater in my backyard in my apartment, bro. I'm like, you know what I'm saying? Because I want them to know, like, you're dealing with authenticity, bro. This is the culture. We're talking about a hip hop show.
Nah, son, you try to show them you was a thug. You said, fuck that.
I'm like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we don't go there. Like, we can make it all right, but the basis, because our goal with Karma's World from a music standpoint was to get the message across in a way that parents want to watch the show with their kids, right?
Yes.
Like, the music needs to be music that resonates with the adults because the kids don't know what things are, right? Like, when they're being introduced into things.
Yes.
We need to remind or use nostalgia as a superpower for our show.
Yes.
So a lot of the show, and they hate when I talk about this, but I've done all the legalities to learn what I can.
Live on the OVRDUB Podcast. Talk that shit, man.
A lot of what that show was from a musical standpoint for me was just drawing upon things that I grew up on. Because me being at the age where people have kids that would be watching this show, I want to listen to some stuff that sounds like Jermaine Dupri beats. I want to listen to some stuff that sounds like Death Row Records. I want to listen to some stuff that sounds like Hank Shockley produced it for Public Enemy. I want to hear some stuff that sounds like Dilla, or, you know what I'm saying? Like, taking those elements, right?
Yes.
And putting them in this, not trying to recreate the wheel. Yes. That's what the score composers are for. So I didn't want to do the score. I wanted to do the original music for the show. I just wanted to be in charge of the person that does a score. So we went through the whole process of finding.
You wanted to oversee everything.
Well, yeah, I wanted to oversee. That was the job I was given, right? Like, that was the task and I grew with that position as I saw what was expected of me. I grew in the space of, no, this is our show. He's relying on me to keep the authenticity and to be the middleman between what the corporate want and what they feel like is going to work because they have the expertise in that, and then what we do. right?
Yes.
Like a hip hop
Yes.
legend doing something in that space, there needs to be somebody that can filter
Right.
that thing. And I had to be that vehicle to take what we know and translate it into a musical sense to where they feel good about what it is. And it was a learning experience the whole time, bro. Like
Right.
I mean, like everything else in my career, I bombed the first week or 2 weeks. Like the production
Mm.
company was like, yo, like, what's up? These things aren't mixed, and like you're not putting this on that, you're not doing this, you're not doing that. And it was just like, okay, it's my first time. Give me all the game. Like they had to get on the phone calls with me and be like, yo, you need to do this. You need to, even the composers had to be like, you should do this, you need to do this, you need to do that. We're not gonna do it for you. By the time it gets to us, it needs to be at this standard. So once again in my life, I'm
Mm.
always gonna throw myself in the fire to see like, okay, what's my burn level? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Ooh, I like that. I like how you
yeah,
said
okay,
that.
cool. I didn't die, so okay, cool. I have another. My scars will heal, and I just got to learn to cover up these parts next time I jump in the fire. And
Ooh.
that's, I kept doing that, and over the time, 4 seasons, and like I said, 189 pieces of music and 2 albums across 12 different countries. Later, it's done. You know what I'm saying?
My man, wow, bro. I got a quick question for you after that.
Yeah, yeah.
Listen, that because all of that is wonderful. Have you always been a responsible person? You know to do all that. You
Hell
gotta.
no, bro. Like, hell no, bro. I grow into my responsibility out of necessity. I'm
Mm,
not a proactive, responsible person.
okay.
I've acknowledged that about myself. I'm 37 now. I've experienced enough life to understand who I am and what I've been and where I want to go. Um, I've always, I will say this to kind of take what you're trying to say. Um, I've always been very aware of what needs to happen to become what I want to become,
Mm,
whether that's personally, professionally, mentally, physically. I've always been aware. Now, if I follow up on it and am I disciplined enough to stay consistent at those things? No. I'll be the first person
got
to
it.
say I'm one of the most undisciplined people across the board. Like there's certain things I'm very disciplined in, like my passions and stuff like that.
Yes.
you see all this. This is discipline. This is
Yes.
what
Yes.
everything does. You know what I'm saying? This is
Yes.
discipline. But when it comes to like regular life stuff, nah, man, I'm trash at a lot of that stuff. Like I'm one of those like very uh I'm very introvert extrovert, meaning
Yes.
that I can turn on my extrovert, but by nature I just like to just be by myself. Like I have a family, and as much as I love my family, I enjoy my alone time. And
Yes.
when I come down here and like work with
Damn,
my kids,
you a Virgo, bro?
nah, I'm an Aries, bro.
Oh shit. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I'm very like Pharrell is like my Aries spirit animal, like
Yeah.
where it's just like I like creating. Like I just all I want to do, if the world was perfect, I would have a clone that would take care of my family, and I would just stay creative every day, all day. Like that's what I would do. Like whether I'm making a lot of money or no money, I'm staying creative. Like all this stuff is coming from not from like, oh, I'm making money doing this stuff. Like a lot of this stuff I'm not making any money off of this stuff I'm using yet. Like the stuff I'm
Right.
doing with Luda and all the other little things I'm doing, like with independent artists and stuff like that. A lot of this stuff don't have nothing to do with it. It's just me always needing to satisfy a curiosity.
Mm.
And I think that's what, I think that's what makes me great in where I'm trying to go and what I do, is because I'm always curious, bro. I'm always trying to learn. I'm always trying to learn and then apply.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
and that's in everything in life. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like, Luda's a gym freak, and you know what I'm saying? Like, he's works out so much. And one thing he told me one day, he's like, bro, one thing that I can say about you is that you may fall off of something, but y'all ass gonna try again. He was
Yes.
like, and it might be 6 months later, whatever, but you'll come to your point where you always try again. Even because I've been in and out of the gym with him so many times, like trying to get myself together, but like it's a different
Hey.
world over there working out him and his trainer. But I say that to say, like, I go through my span of like working up the courage to go do it and do it for a while. And then, something happens where I get distracted, and then I can justify not doing a lot of things because I'm a creative, right? Like
Yes.
I can say like, oh, I didn't want to go do this because I wanted to go do that, right? I
Yes.
always have something to do as a creative.
Yes. Wow,
The
man.
hardest part is just managing if I was more responsible, I would be able to time manage a lot better to get a lot of things done. But that's what I'm looking for now is like people to put around me to that's their job is to be responsible and to let me know like, okay, this is what you need to be focused on today so that we could do this thing. But my problem is my Aries toxic trait is that I don't like asking for help, but I need it a lot. Pretty much about to take the big hiatus off of Instagram, and TikTok and fan base. Well, no, fan base. Sorry, YouTube and fan base are what I'm gonna focus on because one
What
thing
is
about
fan
me.
base? What is that?
So fan base is a social media platform created by Isaac Hayes the third, his son.
Oh,
And
really?
so
Wow.
it's like Instagram and TikTok and all that stuff like that, but it's just black owned and it's up and coming. And a lot of the innovations that TikTok and like the subscribers thing with TikTok and Instagram,
Mm-hmm.
like fan base actually started that,
What?
but
Wait,
because they're not as
where have
big,
I been?
yeah, and
Where have I been?
it's a crowdfunding kind of equity thing. So like
Okay.
I threw like $1,000 into it just on
Mm-hmm.
some like being an owner into it. So I'm big on
Mm.
putting the money where I'm big on like future things. Like, okay,
Yes.
whatever is here now is happening. But being in Atlanta, there's just an energy of like, invest in black as much as you can. And
Yes.
the circles that I run in, or at least I won't say that I run in, the circles that I have access to here in Atlanta,
Yes.
it and being able to pull the card of the Luda card, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Hey.
when I go into these spaces, I want to show that I'm supporting by
Yes.
not just saying I am supporting, right? Like I want to be
Yes.
like, there's certain companies here in Atlanta that I deal with that I actually invested in through the crowdfunding things and stuff like that because I want people to see like I'm big on loyalty and commitment. Like
Yes, sir.
if I see somebody doing something amazing and I want to be a part of it, like I want to be a part of it, not for the opportunity of like, oh, you're gonna be the next big thing. I'm like, no, this is something dope, and like I believe in it. And if I can have the opportunity to add my piece of it and my, say so into it, I will be. And luckily, these people that I have invested into their companies, I actually have access to these people if I need to have access to these people. So for anything that God puts in front of me and stuff like that, but which is all I'm still searching for what it is I truly want to do because the only downfall about being a Swiss Army knife is that like which tool do I really want to use heavy? Like
Wow.
as a producer, I want to put out a beat tape, you know what I'm saying? But like I get instead of just like making a beat and then uploading it because I'm really good at at mixing, I'm like, okay, I need to mix it. But not just like mix it in the box. I need to run it through my fucking $80,000 worth of equipment
Mm-hmm.
that I did because to me in my brain people will care about that, but in reality people don't give a fuck. Like what I mean? So it's like
True though. It's very true.
no, it's very true, and it's like I was just having a conversation with like this legendary producer yesterday about that because me and Luda are looking at getting a console for his house,
Mm-hmm.
and the producer he has the console at his studio, and shout out Lil Ronnie, and so like
Shout out Lil Ronnie, man.
and so
Oh
like
wait, hold up. Ronnie that played the keys?
yeah, produce all this stuff, yeah.
Oh shit. Yo, how did I just know exactly who it was? I don't know. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Lil Ronnie, one of the coldest ever. Like one of the original
Matter of
underdogs.
fact, I just was watching him on he was with T-Pain in one of his live stream sessions.
I know. I don't think we're talking about the same Ronnie then.
Okay, maybe it's not
No,
then.
it's Ronnie Jackson. So like he did
Okay.
like I'm a Flirt for R. Kelly. He did Same Girl. He did like
Did he do work on P. Diddy's most recent album?
I don't think Ronnie got anything on there.
Okay.
He does a lot of stuff with K Michelle. He owns a studio out in Alpharetta, like one of the craziest North Studios, which is just called Ronnie backwards. But
That's
like
fire.
everybody works out of there, like Gotti and all them. So, but like me and him were going back and forth about this, and it's just the conversation of overthinking, right? Like
Yes.
what the consumer is going to care about at the end. And so
Yes.
I kind of got into that space where now I don't to get started, I need to not try to be so dope.
Mmm. Wow,
just to get
talk
started.
about it. Talk about it. Wow, that was
Because
the key.
that being so dope makes me care too much. And because I'm able to do the things that I think about from every aspect, right? Like from if I need to make a song, I can make a song. Like there's something that's gonna be coming out with air technology, the people that make like expand and hybrid and the air plugins and stuff like that. But like
Yes.
the homie said, you know, he needed a song with like a guitar in it and stuff like that. I couldn't just instantly hit somebody because he needed like that night. So like I just turned the mic around, made a quick little beat, recorded a quick song, dope hook, you know, freestyled the verse.
Oh,
Cause
and this was all you?
yeah, all me, just like right here and there. Cause I know how to do everything.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? So like, but then it was just like as I started getting into the process of like, all right, well, you know, I ran all the sounds through my equipment to get it to where I needed to get to for the standards that I care about. And then I was just thinking, I was like, I'm not about to sit here and mix this shit like that. I was like, because it won't be done tonight.
Right.
So it'll be done tomorrow, maybe, if life doesn't get in the way. But he said he needs it tonight. So I'm gonna knock this out. It was just a verse and a hook, or 2 hooks and a verse, but came out dope. He hit me back, bro. This is so fire. Like I love the hook. I love the da, 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 da. He's like, I'm gonna do the video on it and you know, tutorial, blah blah blah. I was like, cool. You know what I'm saying? So it's like now, as much as like in my head, I'm still an artist because I know how to create art. I don't believe I'm an artist because I'm too afraid to put it out to the world. So, because to me,
Wow.
that's the difference between a hobbyist and an artist. A hobbyist, because more people are hobbyists than they are artists, meaning
Wow.
that
Talk about it. Yes, sir.
when you become an artist, when you put your art out to the world to get judged.
Right.
Until then, you can't call yourself an artist. You're just somebody that has a hobby, maybe an expensive hobby or a very passionate hobby. But if you're just doing it and it's staying on your hard drive, you're a hobbyist. I won't even say that's an opinion. That's a fact to me.
Oh,
You know
yeah,
what
I
I'm
agree
saying?
with that. 100.
So
100.
so for me, trying to get into the creative space because you kind of got to do everything now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like just to
Yeah.
make it make sense, just to show that you have the ability to do so.
Yes,
Um,
sir.
am I trying to get a hit by making music? No, I'm not trying to be a front person. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm trying to learn how to DJ a little bit because I know that if I'm making beat tapes and doing all this other stuff, I need to be able to perform. I'm not trying to learn how to be DJ to be a DJ. I just want to just have the courage to expand my creativity to the public because I'm easily able to hide behind. I'm behind a icon,
Yes, sir.
so I don't have to really do anything besides be that for him. But as a man and having a child, having a young boy, I can't tell him he can do anything, and then I stifled myself, right?
Wow.
Like I don't want that on my conscience. So even if I can just have enough courage to put out stuff consistently enough and not care about the results, right? Like, because the beautiful thing about being in the privileged position I'm in is that I can show important people what I'm doing and that can start a conversation about me doing something with them to get me a check. I know everybody doesn't have that privilege. So, and that's another part of it too, is like setting myself up for success because next year is the 25th anniversary for DTP. And there's a
Okay.
lot of different things that are happening. Like all the Luda music that we've been working on is coming out, all the different activations, you know what I'm saying? The different things that they have that they want to roll out. It's going to be a big year for the work that I've been putting in. And
Yes.
for lack of better words, my artist, right? Like
Yes,
if we
sir.
want to put it from that from a producer working with the artist and working solely to help build this artist, um you know, like that's my artist. So once my artist comes out and does his thing, what he's going to do in the system that has already been built, the legendary, you know, Ebony Sun DTP, you know, Ludacris brand of what that is, I want to be prepared to take advantage of all the crumbs that are going to be left on the table of like,
Man. Yes,
you know
sir.
what I'm saying? Like there's going to be millions of dollars on the table. Because the one thing about Luda, he always includes me where he can because he, you know, he knows what I'm gonna deliver. Like we have a commercial coming out soon that I produced, and that's be pretty dope.
I got a question for you, right?
Yes, sir.
This is very, I think it's gonna be very interesting for you, right? To segue off of what you were just talking about. What would you say is harder to do? Tell yourself yes or tell a friend no?
Mm, for me personally, tell myself yes, for sure. I struggle with that every day.
Yeah.
Like that, yeah, I've just gotten to that crossroads of as a man, as a father, as a husband, as a leader, as a son, because my dad lives with me,
Hmm.
and like as just like a trailblazer, I've gotten to a point where I was able to look back and see all that I've done to make other people's lives better
Yes.
and my life better. So I have to trust that my decisions actually matter
Yes. One
because
hundred
I
percent.
care more. I'm a person, I'm an empath. Like I feel people's
Yes.
energy. I care about people's energy. I'm I can be passive aggressive because I don't want to offend people because it's never my intent to hurt people. I just haven't figured out how to articulate something that will be beneficial for you but not offend you, right?
Yes. Yep.
Uh
100%.
so in that,
Likewise.
I've had to learn how to develop a self-confidence that's based on reflection.
Right.
Like not on some like I'm a cocky, I know what the da da da. Da. I've always
Fuck you,
tried to
nigga.
stay, yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like I've always tried to stay in a humility space, not from like a diminishing myself, but like I don't want the responsibilities all the time. Now that I know what the responsibilities of success are,
Hmm.
I don't always want the responsibilities that come with it because I'm such a chill person, right?
Yes, sir.
But so sometimes I think about like I don't say yes to my and give myself permission to know that I'm making the right decision when I think it. And I'm trying to get better at saying no. What you think is actually probably the smartest thing that out of everybody else's opinion
Mm.
because it's been proven.
Right.
It's been proven, and but I'm never too ignorant to not listen to anybody because that's what I do first. I listen to everything before I ever think or speak.
I feel that
Um,
100%. As you should.
but I'll tell people no all the time. Like hell yeah, nah. Like it's one of those mirror things. Like I'm good at helping people be honest with themselves, but it took me a long time to learn how to be honest with myself
So,
for my benefit. For my benefit.
I listen, when I tell you, bro, everything you said, I relate throughout this whole entire interview. I actually relate a lot of what you say, but specifically this last one, the harder
Yeah.
to tell yourself, yeah, I relate a lot to that, man, because I've again as the which it must just be in our personality, which is why we find this job or how this job gets attracted to us, bro. I've
Yeah.
had put myself in position to sacrifice so many times, bro, whether that's maybe I'm dead tired. You know, I'm getting the call, yo, bro, can you just do this mix? You know, I got this radio show to do. And it's like, well, number one, if you got this radio show to do, why didn't you hit me up earlier? But again, I could say no.
Right.
I'm fucking tired. But
Right.
I don't. I get up, right?
Right.
Or you know, back in the day where, you know, having conversation. I come from where, you know, having a studio in the crib. I'm having issues with, let's say, trying to pay the bills. I got to communicate to clients like, yo, look, man, I can't do it right now. Yo, wow, what's up? I'm like, yo, and at the time, I'm kind of doing this next to free.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm not getting paid to what I should be getting paid.
Right.
But it's like, yo, right now, basically, since I'm not really making that much money, I need
Yeah.
y'all to understand that either I'm gonna need some money or we gonna have to just hold off. And then just that conversation alone is like, fuck. Like they don't either they understand it, don't agree with it, or
Right.
you know what I'm saying? So it's a lot of what you said, bro. It's where I could tell these people no, I could tell myself no, I don't want to do that, or yes, I should do that. It's just it's putting myself first has been kind of a struggle.
Boundaries are important. Like boundaries, I never understood that until maybe like last year. You know what I'm saying? I feel like the last 2 years have been hard for just about everybody I talk to.
Mm-hmm.
And just a sense of mental health and just like
Mm-hmm.
what the world's going on and every industry is having its time right now. And so boundaries is important for the fact of energy is going to happen.
Yes.
Positive
100%.
energy and negative happen anytime one or
Right.
two energies interact, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, if you're able to have boundaries on how energy affects you, you're going to be better off because saying you don't want to do something, or saying you do want to do something when you don't want to do something, you've just now generated a negative energy.
Right. Yes, sir.
And so you're gonna either keep it inside of you or you're gonna pass it on to somebody else.
Mm.
Exist, right? Like, and it's not just weighing in the middle, right? Like sometimes we'll like stall somebody out because we don't want that negative energy inside of us, and we don't want to pass on that negative energy. So it just sits in the middle in a gray area, right? But then that eventually becomes resentment more towards you because time's passing by, somebody needs something done. So eventually that negative energy now is in the other person sent to you, right? So when you set boundaries, what you're able to do is make that energy find a home faster.
I like that.
You
I like that.
can't get rid of it, right? So like I'm now comfortable with making people, if they're not okay with me saying no or saying my piece of how it is and standing on it, I'm okay with you feeling some kind of way. I haven't figured out how to be okay with making somebody feel some kind of way, but also make them feel good about it. I haven't developed that yet, or at least wanted to accept that yet. I'm still in the stages of just being unapologetic about how I feel, and it's working out for my mental a lot better because being a breadwinner in every facet, it's hard. It's a lot of pressure because it's like everybody needs you for something, but then they can't deliver to you what you need because they're not at the level to deliver at what you need, because that's why they're depending on you.
Right.
And it's, that's hard. So that's hard to deal with. But eventually you got to get to a point where the balance becomes like, okay, this is what I'm willing to do. This is what I'm not willing to do. I understand my importance is important here, but it's not so important here. It's more of just what you want versus, what's a necessity, right?
I think just to support what you said, in my own opinion, I think it's like a part A and part B. Part A, in my opinion, is that I don't think it's our job to even technically concern ourselves with the other person feeling a way about how we feel. Like if we want them to feel good or at least accept what we're standing on in a positive manner.
Right.
Of course, if they don't, then, whatever. But I do think the other half of that is giving the other person strength, even though you're standing on your 10 toes, right?
For sure.
How we can do that? Maybe highlighting the fact that if they don't see it your way, we still empower them for even looking.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Like,
I'm
you know
big
what?
on-
I don't see you, what you're saying or what's going on. Like, let's say I'm just not going to do what you want me to do. I'm just not going to do it. But the fact that you came to me to ask, thank you so much. You get what I'm saying? I appreciate you for even coming for the opportunity, to where I think that could be the start of saying, a conscious control, to where it's like, you know what? This person basically flat out told me that no, they don't like my idea, but they like the way I'm thinking. Even though I don't agree with what you're talking about. However, though, sometimes people don't think. And I think sometimes even if we don't agree with a person, as long as they're like either thinking, the fact that you thought about me, you get what I'm saying? Sometimes if we give the power back to a person and say, hey, at least thank you for even coming to me. Well, you know what?
Yeah.
Appreciate you. Now, I think what could happen is the next person who's giving you that information that let's say you had to tell them no about something, one, they're gonna want to feel so empowered by you that they're gonna want to do the hardest to come with good ideas, because they don't want to just. And obviously, we're being optimistic. This is not 100% of people. This is not
in a
us.
perfect world.
We're not in a perfect world, but I think the people who, like you said before, who really wants to grow, who really is for your benefit, and or even if it's for themselves, like if you just want to feel smart, right? If it's a selfish thing, thank you for what you said. I'm not gonna do it, but thank you. Like, or you know what? That's actually a good idea. I can't get to you to do that right now, but I'm gonna keep that in mind. Shit like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no. I'm big on recognizing
Yes.
or acknowledging
Yes.
that I understand. I'm the king of agree to disagree. I do that in my marriage. I do that when I'm having label meetings, with management and label, like, as you see, like with that Netflix story, like I'm big on you can see it how you're gonna see it, but I'm standing on how I see it because only I can see why I'm saying it.
Yes, sir.
And it's
Yes,
just my
sir.
responsibility to prove that I'm right. And then even if I'm not right, it's my responsibility to acknowledge that I'm not right
Yes,
and
sir.
to grow from it. You know what I'm saying? As heavy as hard as I stand on being right, I need to stand on not being right as hard. And I feel like that's just the trail of great people. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yes,
everybody
sir.
great that I've ever studied had a very dynamic way of how they looked at life, not a static way of how they looked at life.
Yes, sir. Man, that's actually a lot of helpful information, man. Because see, again, like this podcast, I want to highlight ways that we engineers, producers, I wanted to connect with civilians to where they listen to the shit you just said, bro. To where it's
Yeah.
like, yo, like being an engineer, or producer, is way more than just pushing some buttons or having a good musical idea. No, we deal with real life stuff that you deal with too. You get what
Yep.
I'm saying? So I
100%.
commend you, dog.
Thank you,
What
bro.
one thing I would like to talk about, which I don't think they talk about in schools, bro, is protection in the studio. Being an audio engineer and producer, but having to protect yourself, and I mean in ways of financial, but mostly physical, right? So think
Yeah.
about this, right? Imagine a scenario. You got Joe Schmo who comes from East Bummerfuck, right? Who he's a square, but that's cool. Where I'm not saying square, disrespectful
Right.
manner. He went to, let's say, audio engineer school or just around certain players that was into that field. Let's say he has to move to be able to, or just even doesn't have to move. He just has to be in an environment to where he has to be around random people, enough
Yeah.
people to where he can build a clientele to sustain a living. But
Right.
let's just say he's into, let's say, maybe hip hop, a little R&B. A lot of these genres have people, and people outside of that, but these genres have people
Yeah, it's
who,
ran by the streets.
yeah, let's just say a lot of these people be running in the streets.
It's ran by
So
the streets.
imagine Joe Schmo dealing and sitting next to somebody who's from the streets and he's not about that life at all. Now, mind you, remember, us as audio engineers, a lot of us were taught and we experienced that we really shouldn't say too much, especially if it's not your man's or your friend like that. But imagine how many times these artists come in the studio, they might have guns on them. They might just be a hothead where it's like, the engineer might say, hey, maybe I should turn this up a little bit because it's a little low. And then the artist says, nah, fuck that, keep it down. Or he says, turn it up, where the audio engineer may be slow on turning it up. Now the artist wants to slap the shit out of Joe Schmo. You know what I'm saying? Maybe the engineer say, yo, you can't bring more than 5 people in. He just bring a whole party in. You know what I'm saying? Now, you get what I'm saying? Like, so.
Right.
Have you ever seen, experienced, or have any advice for people of how to protect themselves in the studio
Man,
when
hell
they're
yeah.
in the
I got war stories, bro.
war? At least give us one. Like, give at least one.
Yeah, I'll give you 2. I'll give you like an older one, and I'll give you a newer one,
Fire.
and I'll give you my perspective on
Yes, sir.
where I was then and where I am now,
Yes, sir.
because they're very similar.
Got you.
So when I was on my journey in Atlanta the first time, young, hungry engineer, willing to do anything, just need some bread, need an opportunity.
Yes, sir.
There was one particular session I did with an artist that was on Maybach Music. And this is the first iteration of Maybach Music, not the Meek and Wale era.
Okay.
But, working with the artist a couple times, everything was cool. One day, I don't know what drug he was on or drunk or whatever. It was in the middle of the night type thing. And like, we're working and I was trying to fly I didn't have enough time from when he came in to, I was pulling up somebody else's session and I was trying to track him through somebody else's session, right? I wasn't starting the song. And so it had like a hook and a verse, and then he had redid the hook over, but I didn't notice that they never set the BPM
Got it.
for the session.
Got it.
And
So now you got to kind of like, you know what I mean? Yeah.
right. But for this artist, he was so antsy that too many wrong moves irritated him because he was just
Understood.
trying to get it out, right? He was just,
Yes.
which is understandable. I get it. But the disrespect from the other end of that screen was just out of pocket, bro. Like he was calling me, "You fucking monkey, you you stupid, what you I should come on and slap the shit out of you." And so like, it was me, him, his manager, like one other person in the studio, and I'm thinking to myself, and mind you, I'm I'm a felon, so that's why I didn't go into like all the stuff that like I went into. I
Me
come
too.
from that environment, but I'm not at this point in my life. I'm removed from it, and I'm like intentionally trying to be a square. Like
Yes.
I've never been the most thuggish dude in the world or anything like that. I just did a lot of crazy stuff when I was younger because my environment.
Yes, sir.
But I know how to handle that kind of energy
Yes.
one way.
Yes. Yes.
So I'm going to try not to go that way because there's three of them and one of me.
Yes.
So I ended up taking it. You know, what I mean, he's saying what he's saying, and he don't physically. You know, thank God he doesn't put his hands on me. But we go through. He ends the session because it's just like at that point I'm shutting down because there's a part of me that is like my anxiety wants to say
Yep.
something back,
Yes.
and the
Yes.
anger that is balling up,
It's
right?
brewing. Yeah.
I'm not able to fully be coherent with what I'm doing. I'm still messing up, right? Like you
Yep.
just throw me all off, bro. Like you just threw me all the way off. Because
Dead ass.
now I'm contemplating how I'm going to get out of this scenario with three of them and one of me, and I only know one way of how to handle a situation.
Yep.
So now I gotta just let it play out, being disrespected. And I've never been in the circumstance where somebody has disrespected me without facing a consequence.
Yes, sir.
And so I'm working out of somebody else's studio through an opportunity I got. So there's so many levels of I don't want to mess up something, and I'm so young. I don't know how I'm supposed to react in this
Yeah,
situation.
you're really not trying to sabotage yourself, right?
I'm not trying to sabotage myself. I'm not trying to look like a bad, good customer service is everything. I
That's
understand.
right.
I've been in, the service industry where people are upset at you because of something that somebody else did and blah blah blah, and they're yelling at you, and you gotta keep your cool. So I've been through those circumstances, right? So
Likewise.
I
Yep.
at least
Likewise.
have that understanding of
Yes, sir.
doing nothing can be okay.
Yes, sir.
So, I go through that as, me and the manager was kind of cool. So as everybody's leaving in the middle of the night, dude, the manager, he was like, "Hey man, don't ever let nobody talk to you like that, bro." He said, "Because the one thing, we'll probably never work with you again just off of that." He was just like, "The one thing that some people and most people respect is disrespect."
Yeah.
And I was just like, "Damn, that's deep." Like, I
Say
never
say
heard
say that, say that one more time for the people, man.
Sometimes the only thing people respect is disrespect.
Woo.
Because, mind you, I've been in that same scenario at that same studio later on, not for the same reason,
Mm-hmm.
but just like nigga was just kind of talking to me crazy, and I can tell he was testing me. Matter of fact, it was when I was DJ Mustard, YG, and Ty Dolla Sign's engineer very early on.
What? Yo, get
When
the
they
yo, my
yeah,
man.
when Toot It and Boot It first came out and YG was like, starting to make his rounds and
Yeah.
starting to be out here and stuff like that, I was their engineer when they would come out here.
Mm-hmm.
Through Def Jam, I was commissioned to be
Go
their
record.
engineer. And so
Yes.
YG was always cool. Mustard was always, and this is before Mustard started making beats. This is before DJ Mustard, the producer. This is DJ Mustard, YG's DJ.
Got it. Got it.
Ty was the musical genius.
Yes, sir.
He was the one that, made the beat for Tootie and Booty. He was the one
Oh,
that,
shit, I didn't know that.
yeah, he was the musical genius behind their whole Pusha Inc. crew. And Pusha Rod, who's also a big A&R now in the game. But like, Ty was just talking to me crazy one day. And but like being from California, I could tell it wasn't like a nigga, I'm banging on you type of thing. It was
Right.
more like I just met you and I'm talking crazy to you, but like because I'm from California, I knew it was playful. It was like
Right.
nigga, or what I'm saying, hey,
Yeah.
something like that. But it was just one of those things where it was just like, all right, he's talking too crazy, and going off of what the big homie told me, like he was like, hey, hell ass nigga, like I don't know, you know what I'm saying? I'm not one of these Atlanta niggas, like, you know what I'm saying? I just need you to talk to me with a little more respect. I don't play. I'm assuming that you're playing, but like, bro, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Because you talking to me a little crazy too much. And so he was like, no, bro, I'm just fucking with you. It's all good. Like, we all homies here, and this is how niggas talk. And so it was cool because he was, he didn't take it as like I was checking him. He was just more of like, no, I don't want you, you know what I'm saying? Like, you cool, like we fuck with you, like this is how we talk with everybody. We all call each other this and that. He took the time to explain it to me even though I kind of knew it, but it was just like after that conversation, it was like I had to stand up for myself, not knowing what that situation was going to be. But at least I was able to find the words, thank God, to not make it threatening. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
It
Yes,
was just
sir.
like, look,
Yes, sir.
I'm not going to be in this predicament where niggas is just talking to me crazy because I'm a man first. You know what I'm
Yes,
saying?
sir.
And
100.
that's one of those eye-opening moments that says like, are you going to be a man first or are you going to be an engineer first? And at that decision, you know, after that conversation I had with the big homie, it was just like, nah, I'm a man first.
Man first.
Like forget all
Always.
this. Like, nigga, I'll go somewhere else and engineer, but nigga, this shit
Yeah.
get
Yup.
crazy. So
Talk that shit.
that was the first story, right? And so there's been circumstances later on where I kind of handled the same way, where it's like, nah, bro, like you got me fucked up. Like we can end this shit now. I'll erase all your shit. Like I've erased clients. You know what I'm saying? Like I've literally erased the whole client's whole catalog before. Like,
Wait, whoa.
no, I'm an Aries, bro. I'm petty. Like I'm one of those people that's like the most common people in the world. But once I'm there, bro, I'm there.
Listen, real quick, right?
Yeah.
So I'm a Virgo, so that's how I always tell myself, me, bro. I'm one of I'm a smooth, cool nigga, bro. That's what I want to be, smooth, cool nigga. I'm cool with all sorts of characters, bro. Gothics, cool with the gangsters, cool with the nerds, cool with the square, cool with all them niggas, right? But then again, no matter what circle you running, bro. After some point, and the thing about it is, what you basically kind of shedding the light on, I'm gonna have my patience. I'm gonna figure out a way to try to keep the cool because most likely, if we're around each other, there's a betterment situation. We're probably here in the studio, most likely. So the fact I'm in the studio, we're both here in the studio. That's what's most important. But don't get it fucked up, dog. It's like, especially a nigga like me, I grew up fighting a lot. So it's like, I really, like you said, I don't want to take it there. I don't even know how to handle this shit one way. So I know how I can get. But once I'm there, nah, son, fuck that.
Yeah,
Because,
for me,
yeah.
For me, it comes from a place of fear. Like I'm not gonna, sit there in front. I can acknowledge it. Like once I get scared, it's either retreat or fly or fire on a nigga. Like I've always been that space. Like the moment I get scared, I'm swinging on you. Like I don't, because I'd rather see what happens going that way.
Yes.
Than knowing that you and whoever can feel like they're gonna talk to me crazy. I had one scenario in junior high that changed my life forever, and that let me know, like, nah, like you always gotta swing first. You know what I'm saying? Like, but my energy is not like swing first. It's more like I want you to die. Like, you know what I'm saying? So that's why like my energy is always like trying to be chill and trying to be calm and always trying to find a resolution, because once I'm there, like I know what I'm thinking. So if the things that I'm thinking come into the front of my brain, everybody's in trouble, including me.
Yes.
And so to not be, because I've been in scenarios and
I don't want to
situations.
go Hulk on y'all. You feel me?
Exactly. It's that level of where it's at. So you know what I'm saying? So I always try to resort to positive outcomes.
Yes.
Even if I gotta be the bigger person and take the hit for a second, it's just more of like when things calm down, then I'm gonna address it. But in the moment of two, you know, you got two testosterone alpha energies, it's never gonna end positive, right?
Right.
Unless somebody says, okay, I'm gonna step away from this and
Right.
eat this one right here for the betterment of the overall situation. And that's what the later, most recent circumstance was. I got back into engineering last year because the writer's strike like messed up our show with the Carmen's World show and everything. So because Hollywood affected what I do over here, I went back into engineering just on some like, let me just get back on these streets. But I've been on Luda Island the whole time. The whole time in Atlanta, I've been helping him build his companies.
Yes, sir.
So I haven't really been in these Atlanta streets. And so my boy Ronnie on the studio, I was just like, you got some gigs. Let me, because it's all major artists, meaning that they're all signed to labels and have situations. So I just try to make sure I place myself in opportunities as opposed to just be getting back out here hustling backwards. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
So, yeah, I started, going back, and I was working with this one artist, and he signed to a major artist. So he's working on getting blown up and stuff like that. And those are usually the worst, like the artists that aren't like at the height of things and they're under somebody that's co-signed them, and they're usually not the best people. It's the people
Understood.
that are really the superstars, that it's their show and everything like that. And I get it, you're behind somebody else's shadow, so there's like that subconscious thing. And if you come from the street and you used to being a man in the street, then now you're number 2 or number 3
Right.
in this world, right? But then in the studio, you're number 1. But you gotta compensate for all that time you lost, right?
Yes,
So
sir.
I understand the psyche behind all this stuff, behind street stuff sometimes.
Got it.
So we're doing a session, same kind of scenario. Another artist comes in. He is an engineer. His engineer's tracking the artist, that artist, and they, do a high and inactive on my tracks. So, but they're working and they load up their session and their template into my session.
Yes.
So, you know how a lot of these artists are. They want to just hop in and out of the booth, just
That's right. Yep.
writing. They're just doing their thing. So once the artist gets done what he's doing, I'm trying to hurry up and trying to figure out what dude has on here to keep the other artist's vocals on here. Then I still got to import my stuff back in, which has the artist I'm working with stuff on there.
Right.
So amidst all that, within less than 5 minutes, he wants to go back in the booth, right?
Yeah.
I'm still trying to declutter and organize
Yes, sir.
to where we can run this session back smoothly because we have a certain way that we've been working.
Yes, sir.
And long story short, I ended up accidentally not making active one of the tracks that had his playback track on it.
Oh man. Okay. Got it.
So he don't hear a part of the song.
Yeah.
This nigga, he's off 2 bottles. He's upset. He's like, bro, you stupid. And mind you, I'm me now though.
Yeah. Yeah. Talk that shit.
Like I'm me now. Like
Yeah.
I don't have to be here. Like dealing with you is a favor to the homie technically because what I've experienced in my career and the things you're trying to still obtain. So you're younger than me. I work with a huge icon. The dude that's under you, or the dude that you're under, is trying to be like the dude that I work with for a living. This isn't my job. This is some side money. So,
Nigga.
Right.
Nigga.
So he goes into his bag, you know what I'm saying? I let him go through it, but I don't have the nervousness now when he goes through it.
Right.
I'm just sitting there like, so are you gonna give me 5 minutes so I can just bring the track back up?
Right. Yep.
No. Yeah, you better do that shit before I fucking go crazy. So I was like, okay, whatever. So, mind you, same scenario. I could either go crazy, but every session I come and do a session with him, there's at least 3 people with Dracos in there.
It's not funny, but I'm sorry.
You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying it's a different environment than what I'm used to.
It's really not funny.
I've been used to, you know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
And this is a different time. This
Right.
is a no consequences young and turnt generation.
Yes, sir. Right.
So I'm 37. I have a family I need to get back to.
Right. Yes.
So my perception of what needs to happen is totally different because I don't have to sit here and deal with this and prove anything.
Right.
Because outside of, not wanting to mess up a bag for the homie who's getting paid for studio, who's taking out of his budget.
Right.
I could just be like, yo, you're not somebody that anybody should be working with here at the studio. You're a danger. I have influence over that. And you'll have to find another place to record. But it's not that big of a deal because I understand why this happened.
Yes, sir. Yes,
it was
sir.
a mistake on my end, meaning that it's not something that I did, but I'm in charge of it.
Yes, sir.
And as a responsible, accountable person,
yes, sir.
Hey, my bad, it's not functioning the way that you want for you to be able to do your thing freely and that you're getting upset. So as a professional, that was my mental, where it was like, I'm gonna let you do what you need to do. I'm not gonna trip on you. I'm not even gonna feel some kind of way because I know what happened and I don't feel bad about what happened. Like you went in too fast. You didn't give me an opportunity. You weren't considerate of what I need to do to help you do your job.
Yes.
And I get that. You're drunk.
Understood.
So I just ended up calling the studio owner and just being like, yo, bro, I can't work with bro no more.
Right.
I was like, I think he's more suited for an up and coming engineer to, get their chops and then get their character built.
Right.
Because the way he was just talking crazy to me and like all the other shit, like I ain't who I am. I can't do it. You know what I'm saying? Like I can't sit in there. And then just to like, I'm in a space now where I've accomplished a lot of my goals.
Yep.
So I no longer feel like I need to jump at an opportunity.
Yep.
And if it's not aligned with where I am as a person. So like I
Understood.
can't listen to a 8 to 12 hour session of spinning a block and killing the ops every song. I personally can't do that. Not saying I dislike it, not saying anything negative about it. I personally, as a professional person that wants to make the best healing music and music for people's lives and use music in a way that uplifts the Black community, I don't want to spend my time, especially for a little bit amount of money, getting that energy in me.
Yo, real quick, which is wow. So I don't know if too many engineers even thought about that, bro. Like you said, because the energy of the music, I could just be mixing the song, drill, whatever. They talking about shoot 'em up, bang, bang shit. I'm not in the street doing that. But right? I'm mixing the music that my kids might hear in the world. Do I even want them listening to this shit? Again, they might be hearing me in the other room mixing this shit. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So they listening to it. But again, everything in this life is all about energy, bro. So all that energy I'm soaking up in it, you got to run it back however many times. And remember, it's all about feeling with music. So I got to bring that out. I don't even fully resonate with this shit, and I got to find a way to bring it out. It's like acting where it's like, yo, I'm not even a true criminal. I'm not really this or that, but I got to find a way to dig deep and pull that out of me to perform.
And deeper
like,
than
wow.
that, they're getting it out. You're receiving it.
True. I didn't even think of that.
So it doesn't
I didn't
affect
even-
them the way that it's affecting you. So
I didn't even think of that. Wow. Yo, this live on the OVRDUB podcast, man. Yo, you getting put on some serious game, man. The only place you're gonna get it like this. Bro, that was a gem for me. Wow, I didn't even realize that.
Yeah, so like, I've sacrificed thousands of dollars at this point over the last year. Lots of money to not be in the vibe here because Atlanta's that, it's that place. It's a trap capital. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? It's what I'm against for our people more so than not. And so because like I said, I'm in a privileged position to be able to even talk like this, you know what I'm saying? Because I have a job running Luda's situation, you know what I'm saying? So I'm able to take care of my family and have the bare necessities and stuff like that. Now, would I be rich as hell and like, you know what I'm saying, driving a crazy car and like iced out and like having a bunch of money if I didn't have these perspectives and morals and things that I care about in this vision, in this path of what I'm on? Yes, I would have a lot of that because everything that Cats is doing out here, I could do in my sleep for real, for real.
Ooh, talk
And since
that
like
shit,
on a
man.
production level, like when I go place, I'm gonna say it's rare that I'm impressed with the quality of music that's coming out, and I know how to dissect it in a way to make it what it needs to be. And so it's hard for me to be in those spaces. So if I could shut off that part of me for like 6 months and just go on a crazy run, like build a studio outside of my crib and then like just have all my resources, pull all the hood rappers and trap rappers and all the, people that are signed that are doing all that stuff, I'd make a killing. With the resources I have, the collaborators I have, the everything that I have at my disposal, I just can't use it for that.
Got it. Understood.
Because I don't want my legacy,
And your brand too, right?
not even my brand, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Because sometimes you have to bend on your brand in order
True.
to get certain spaces, right?
True.
But I'm talking about my legacy because I haven't cemented myself as something else yet.
Yeah.
Like once I do this Luda thing and everything comes out and like, our flow of him releasing music is like on a good path, I can go do that because at least I won't be the lens that's on me won't be the wrong lens.
Understood.
Because I'm not a trap guy. I'm not going in. I have a basic Rolex, like a regular plain Jane Rolex. I don't have anything diamond down. My wife is the only person that has diamonds in the family because I buy her diamonds. I don't wear any
Understood.
of this stuff like that. So it's one of those things where I don't want my reputation to be based on anything besides legendary.
Yes, sir.
And because I'm in a privileged position to make that happen, it just takes longer, because what me and Luda are cooking up is something that's game changing and groundbreaking and an evolution of the big brand that he already stated. So I want that to be my first introduction, because the kids show and all the other stuff, I'm lit in that space. Like when
Yes,
I had
sir.
a conversation with like the lady that does the music supervision for Dora the Explorer. She was trying to reach me. She was reaching out to people to find me. And like just the conversation we were having about music and like what I did with the show and how it was innovative. But I don't have a network in that space. So that's why it's like harder to get work, because most of my network is in the music record making business.
Yes, sir.
And so, but in that space, I built a lot of great reputation just as a person
Yes, sir.
with a lot of people. So now, once the music can represent me, and it's like, okay, now people can be like, yeah, he's the one. That's my dog. He did Luda stuff. Da, 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 da. Now I can start moving around and making plays, because my basis is off of a legendary thing. So when people come and sit in the studio with me, I can do the legendary level
Right.
production, or I can
Right.
give people things and they'll receive it a lot easier than if I just did like, no offense to any of these people at all, like 21 Savage or Lotto, or doing anything that any other producer can get to, right? Like there's beat makers on YouTube that are getting onto these other artists that are, what I'm saying, like these trap artists. The stuff that I'm doing with Luda, nobody has this stuff. Sonically, nobody has this stuff. Where we're going, nobody has this stuff. I'm literally setting a separation for myself to be put in those categories, because I have the toolage of a lot of legendary people that those are the people I play my stuff for. When I'm not sure, like I go to my big homie Shakespeare, who's a legendary producer, my homie Lil Ronnie. Man, I got a lot of people that, what I'm saying? I was able to meet Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, who is like some of my idols,
Oh
and
shit.
like just be introduced in the most proper way, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And just different things where it's like it lets me know like I just got to stay the course. And that's the hardest part too. Sometimes it's like, this
Staying the
day and age,
course.
if I can leave a lesson, it's like I try to preach, don't chase the bag, chase legacy or being legendary, because the bag will come with that if you structure things properly and you
Right.
set things up, because the money's gonna come and money's gonna go.
Yes, sir.
And if you love music, and you as a producer or an engineer or anything, if you want to cement yourself, um it's gonna be very important about the moves you make.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because I know a lot of producers that have placements on artists, NBA YoungBoy, all these other, they're not getting into any Hall of Fame. And not saying that that's all it's about, but for me, the kid that lives in me, that scene, getting a Grammy is important. That scene, um, the going diamond as important, you know, um, making music that people will play at barbecues and have great times, and great positive memories are made to the soundtrack of the things that I was involved in. That's what's important to me. Not, I don't want to be involved in anything that has to do with Africans killing Africans.
Understood.
So it's just like once we get there, and I don't mean by like gunfire or anything like that, anything that just degrades us and doesn't allow us to see how great we are as people. I'm here for the fun. I'm always here for the fun and rap, 'cause that's part of our diaspora. But
Right. Understood.
yeah, so
Yeah, man. Nah, you touched. Wow. When I tell you, bro, but, before we conclude, there's about one, two things I want to touch on, but just to kind of brush over some things, bro. When I tell you, I don't try to have too many questions just set out for interviews, but I just try to have like a general basis. You get what I'm
yeah,
saying? Bro, when I tell you, you've damn near crushed any and everything I would have had set up to ask you, but it was so wonderful, bro, because it's like, number one, it's all a part of the story. You get it. It's just everything's flowing. It's like, well, he just answered that. Well, he just answered, like, it's a beautiful thing, bro. So, but yo, my man G, it's been a pleasure talking to you today, bro. I
no, Jay,
personally learned a lot today in this conversation. I highly guarantee a lot of people will listen to this interview, bro, and learn as well. You know what I'm saying?
so
If I could leave something with you, bro, Not that you don't believe in yourself, but just believe that all the decisions that you are making in your life right now, dog, you're on the right track. I actually early this morning, it was raining heavy where I'm at. I'm in upstate New York, and it was raining heavy up here. So just even besides that, bro, the part where I'm at in my life, again, just getting a new crib. Like, bro, again, I'm starting from the bottom right now. Got a new crib. It's hot as hell in here. So, again, people, you'll see me because I'm sweating like a motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? I ain't get the AC yet. But my point is that, bro, I'm in a position to where I'm building my life back up. You get what I'm saying? So all the decisions I'm making to build myself up, I feel like it's a lot similar to what you said in your story of how you was coming up. You feel me?
Yeah.
So what I'm gonna say to you, bro, is you listen, man. Your decisions that you're making in your life right now, dog. You have everything you need. You get what I'm saying? It's just keep believing in yourself, Brody. Literally, that's all you need is to keep believing in yourself. That's it.
I received that 100%.
Yes, sir. So from me to you, for real. You know what I'm saying? And
thank you for inviting me on, bro. I love what you're doing, bro, and the fact that you started, man. Like, I'm supporting anybody that starts because I know that's the hardest part, bro.
Listen, when you said that, that's me. The hardest part is just starting sometimes, bro. And I can sometimes be close to a perfectionist because it's like, all right, for example, I got a camera, I got a computer, I got a mic, like, but do I really know everything I need to be doing, right? And I've held myself back for so long because of little details like that, bro. Listen, sometimes you just got to start, you know what I'm saying? Like, I may not have the best camera right now, you know what I'm saying? But my thing is, as long as motherfuckers who really care get this message, God knows that He'll provide everything else for me, bro. He'll give it. You know what I'm saying? So, not to get too deep about that part, but yeah, man. Thank you so much for coming on to the OVRDUB Podcast.
Love, bro.
Anything you want to leave with? Anything else you want to leave with the people? You know what I'm saying?
And for the people, yes, I do. I try to leave everybody with this. You know what I'm saying? Like, you are great as you know you are. You are. No matter where you are in your life, I started over 3 times. And every time I started over, because I was willing to do what was necessary to build myself, I was able to build traits and qualities and characteristics so that when destiny aligned with timing, right? Like where I was trying to go and where God was trying to put me, when those two things met, I was over equipped with what to do for the thing. So when I got into this position with Luda, that was my I made it moment, or I'm on moment, because I accomplished getting to where I wanted to be, meaning I can provide for a family and provide for myself by being creative, and not having to worry about getting a 9 to 5. And so I say to say, take every starting from the bottom situation as you're building a step to get you closer to where you want to be, because the bottom only means that you can go to the top. You can't go further than the bottom. Like, to hell is the only place that you can go, right? Like, and people do that to themselves, you know what I'm saying? Like, when they hit the bottom, they only see the bottom and then they push themselves to hell. You know what I'm saying? That's a real thing. And so as you hit the bottom, be grateful that you have, and that, like, you know, if you're still able to breathe, eat, sleep and shit, and you still have love in your life and the ability to do whatever it is that you see yourself doing, be grateful that you are on a new journey to get where you're supposed to be, because we live in a comparison-based world, and sometimes we put these deadlines on ourselves based on what God did for somebody else. And so you have to have trust that, you know, you're moving in the direction that you're supposed to. And it may not look like the way that your dreams look like. Like, my situation right now does not look like how I thought it was going to happen, but I was smart enough to follow the signs that God was showing me at the time. And, you know, I'm not perfect. I backslid plenty of times into not being on my path, but in the end, it all worked out because, you know, I had faith and trust in knowing that what was for me, and the timing that it was going to be in. It was perfect timing. Like, that's so cliche, but it's so true. Like, God's timing is perfect.
Listen,
So
man,
that's it.
Yes. I receive, and I know a lot of people when they hear that they're gonna receive that as well, bro. So, my man, listen. Last question, which is not a real question, is You going to Mix Nick this year? Shout out to Wavy Wayne. You going to
Oh
Mix Nick
yeah,
this
that's
year?
my dog. Wayne. Yeah, Wayne. Yeah, I'm gonna support anything Wayne does, man. I love what he's doing for the community. I love what he's doing as a black man. He's a family man, so
Yep.
what I'm saying, he just aligns with what everything I believe in. He has more courage than me because he's doing the content. So anything I can do to support the homie, what I'm saying, I'm there for 100%. I'm not speaking this year, but I'm just gonna pull up to be in the building to give energy and just show support as much as I can.
Yeah, nah, my goal, being honest with everybody, getting started from the bottom. So my whole goal, and I got a whole group, right, of people about was people. Actually, was so crazy though. People I met at Mixnick last year. We stayed in contact, and we're trying to plan it, how we're gonna, where we're gonna stay at, how we're gonna stay for both days, all that shit. I told him to be honest. I'm like, yo, listen, if I can't make it, it's only because I just got this apartment and I just gotta get it building up type stuff. But if I could get everything aligned in order in time, oh yeah, I'm there, baby. I'm there.
God willing. God
You know what I
willing.
mean? So if you there, bro, I'm gonna see you there. But in the meantime, you know what I mean? I'm gonna definitely stay in contact. You already know, bro. Matter of fact, what I want you to do, send me your email because I got some shit I want to send you too, just on some, like, you know what I mean? Sideline shit.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Some music and stuff or whatever. But yeah, man. So thank you so much, bro, for coming on to the OVRDUB podcast. It's been a great conversation, and we out.